All right, everybody, welcome to the I Disagree podcast. You know, I can honestly say the reason why we've named it I Disagree is because it's two words I believe that have not only changed my life, but we all wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't say I disagree. So here's basically what we stand for. In the past 3 years, there has been more disagreements, controversies, opinions, ideas, failed expectations, character reveals, surprises, disappointments, lies, beliefs, assumptions, and bullshit than ever before. Here we go. You guys ready for the first one?
Turn it.
Yeah, so we need to get that rash checked out in between your legs there.
I agree.
All right, so.
Turn the
Oh!
volume off.
Wow, okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, hey everybody, welcome to the I Disagree podcast. My name is Travis. Thank you all for joining me at this 7 p.m. wonderful Tuesday evening. I'm so blessed to have you all here. I have a very awesome crew here, and I'll get into that. But first off, I want to welcome everybody online. Thank you for coming. Please, if you're watching and you like even one thing we have to say, please like it, comment, subscribe, share it, get the word out, because we actually talk about things that the government and nobody wants to talk about these days. They're all taboo. So please check us out, subscribe, do all the things. All right. If you want to hear about a specific topic, please comment. We have a knucklehead here who I've known since I was 10, and he actually commented, and now he's here, and I'll introduce him shortly. So, but it's awesome. That's how we keep this thing rolling. If you got things you want to share or things you want to hear, talk about it. We'll move on it. So I just want to welcome my guests here. Thank you all for coming. Let's start with the introductions. We're going to start in this corner right here. Go for it. How about this? You know what? I'm sorry. Tell your name, your age, single, married, like what are your...
He's just taking
Got
charge.
the girlfriend, but how about this? How did we meet? Let's start there. You want to tell that story right
Yeah.
off the bat?
So, in fact, I was working at well companies, and I was getting texts from my wife. She was doing the pull-ups at the military thing, hanging out, and then all of a sudden at the fair, right?
County
Green Bay,
Fair.
the Brown County
Brown County
Fair.
Fair, yep.
And here's this Joe guy trying to sell this, reverse osmosis, just awesome water filtration. And obviously I went to Dr. Patrick immediately and said, "Is this good?" And he said, "Yep, get it, go for it." So he's been my water guy. And through that water, the installation and everything, and which is actually a lot, we became friends, and we just been friends ever since. So nice. He takes care of my water, and I feed him pork chops, and we talk about life. It's great.
Amen.
Perfect.
And I know it very well that he has a lot of knowledge, and that's why he's here. So continue. Go ahead.
Yep, my name's Joyce JD. I'm the water guy. That's how I go by myself, basically. And I've been with my girlfriend for the last 9 years. We're happy on most days, arguing on most days, but it's an interesting thing over the last couple of years of what's happened to this world and everything, and how two people can just be together and then all of a sudden have something just go completely conflicting on all moral grounds. And we've all seen it now, so I'll stop with that right now for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, Joe. I call him Water Joe. I don't know if it's even still around
It's
anymore.
Joe
but
the water guy.
I call
has the
you
ring to
I
it.
call you Water Joe because I think of that caffeinated water that came out in the 90s.
Careful
It was
of the
one
trademark.
The
The trademark.
Water Joe
the 90s?
with two E's. I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna introduce this one here. On a scale of 1 to 100, she's easily a 94. This is my wife, Sarah Frisk. Introduce yourself, sorry.
Hi, I'm Sarah Frisk. Yes, I am Travis's wife, and we have 2 children, Haley, who is 19 and engaged, and Braden, who is 13 and in 7th grade. And I work here, and I love my job, and yeah, that's about it.
And we have a guy to my left here. He's become a new friend of mine, and I'm so blessed that he's here once again. So I'm just giving you an introduction, Lorenzo. But go ahead and introduce yourself again.
I don't know why you're telling people lies. We're not friends.
I only lie when I'm sleeping.
Using that term loosely there, friends.
I am Lorenzo Tomas. I have a show called Random Things You Need to Know. It's on YouTube and BitChute and Rumble and Gab. And yeah, so I'm a little tired today. I'm not the same upbeat Lorenzo. But I have a feeling that whenever the conversation starts,
He's going to come out to play.
I'm sure Lorenzo will find his little crafty way to come out. So, yeah, you guys go check out Random Radio. There's a new episode up now where we're talking. I am discussing. God damn it! See, here we go. I am discussing a situation. There was a child, right? There was a child who got released from the Hamas from the Hamas people, right? But it was a child. Oh, God damn it. It's very interesting. That child's great aunt is working for the Joe Biden White House, and she also bought art from Hunter Biden. That's
Isn't that
just a
something?
coincidence.
Yeah.
Best
Just a
artists
coincidence.
out there.
It's
That's
all
not-
just a
he's
He's just
coincidence.
getting
Happens
started,
all the
people,
time.
so-
Fake
All
news.
Happens all the
just a
time.
Fake
coincidence.
news.
Fake
Fake
news.
news.
I don't believe
Lorenzo,
it either.
you can go back to being sleepy. It's
Yeah.
okay.
It's okay.
I
We're-
Don't
I
even
don't-
get him
I
worked
don't
up.
believe
Don't
it
even
either.
get him
I
worked
don't
up.
believe it either. I
We're
don't believe it
gonna
either.
turn your mic off if you have any more misinformation.
Yeah, I don't believe it either. So even on the
offended.
episode, I'm saying
Has
I don't
political
believe my own
fact checked this
information.
yet?
I mean, I've fact checked it, but you can't believe.
It wasn't debunked
can't
though.
believe
If CNN hasn't debunked it, I don't know.
Well, Lorenzo, thank you for being here, man. Appreciate you as always.
Oh, man.
And awesome. Dana to my right. Double D.
Not really though. My name's Dana. Well, I'm still the
Still
last
waiting on
name.
Lorenzo's
It works
grade.
out.
Whole
Yeah.
different show
I know.
now.
Like I've
Whole
had the
different
initials
show.
double D my entire life, so I've been dealing with that joke my entire life. So my name's Dana. I'm 34. I have 2 boys. I've been married for 9 years. I went to school to be a CPA for accounting and business management, and I did that for 10 years. I worked on taxes. Decided that wasn't for me, so I did a career switch a couple years ago and became a clinical nutritionist, just given my big passion for natural health. And now I also help co-host this podcast, obviously, and I make like really fun content for men looking for dating and relationship type advice. And I also just like to support the patriarchy and support all the alpha males out there. And you can find that on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and it's called Dana Disagrees. And I have a very viral video that has over 14 million views right now, so definitely make sure you go check that out. And I have some follow-ups coming to that too.
Awesome. And I got to give you props too, because I don't know if we'd be here if it wasn't for you back in 2020 or 2021. What was that?
2020, about 18 months ago, or
Okay.
whatever.
So for those of
Well,
you
actually
playing
2020, but yeah.
okay, yeah. So for those of you playing the home game, we're here because she came to this thing called VaxCon, and it was down in Wisconsin.
Dells.
Okay, yep.
Yep.
So, and they had a awesome time there, but she stood up and said, "Where's all the men?"
Mm-hmm.
And Doc, took to that, and obviously we're here. It's a longer story besides that, but just a little short
Yeah.
version.
Yeah.
So thank you
That is-
for having the
that
courage.
is the gist
Appreciate
of it.
that.
Oh, I'm also in the middle of writing a manual for men and women, just surrounding the whole idea behind the 3 M's, the mind, muscle, and money for men, and the 3 S's, the sexy, supportive, and serene for women. So watch for that coming out as soon as I get it done.
And when is our merch coming out for the soy?
For the soy latte pussified beta male, I don't know. I'm gonna have to get with a graphic design artist, probably talk to Aaron Krieger about that and see where that's at.
I have a few ideas.
Yeah.
All right. We have returning Zach, who's almost Dr. Zach. He's
Almost.
like, right.
About a month left.
He sees the finish line.
I do. But more importantly, I'm Zach. I am a future doctor of the Wellness Way, and I just got engaged this weekend, so there goes my freedom.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a long time in the making. We were dating for 7 years, and Rach, I don't know if you're watching right now, but I'm ready to make a lot of memories in the next 50-ish.
No.
I want to
Not
open
many
up my own office for the Wellness Way up in the Northeast Corridor. I'm originally from Philadelphia, so that's where I want to be. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm
Awesome.
26, so you guys referenced something earlier. They don't really know what it is, but it's called like
90s.
the 90s or something. I don't know. Not really sure what that is. No. I was
Oh,
born in the
boy.
90s. I am a 97 baby, so don't hold it over me.
That's a
Seven.
late
I remember the
90s.
90s.
Hey, I was there, okay? I experienced Y2K.
You know what,
Do I
were over
remember
at
it?
that
Different
point.
story,
Yeah,
but
right?
I was there
Yeah.
for it. But
Patrick,
yeah.
remember that? We had high verticals and fast 40 times back in the 90s.
Oh yeah, healthy bodies and good times, good memories.
I
Absolutely.
think that's
yeah.
like where society peaked. Like we peaked in the 90s,
Yeah.
Really
maybe
did.
the
And then it just
2000s.
all
Then it
dropped
just
off.
kind of, I don't
then-
know. We're just kind of dropping off.
It's been gone ever since George Bush Sr. was there, but that's a whole other conversation.
9/11
kind of
happened.
ties to your
There's not
timeline.
enough booze in this room for that.
Patrick, you are up, and I'm going to introduce you too because this is a special moment. I know everybody pretty decently at this table. All right, so this is awesome. But to top it all off, the cherry on top is Patrick Hornick. I've known him since he was about 10 years old, 11. I don't know. I don't do the math very well, but we have been friends for all those. You're one of the only people. Maybe Brian Kasrovs kind of came back into my life a little bit working here, but pretty much the only one in the class that I talk to on a weekly basis, pretty much. So,
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. I did enough.
Patrick Hornick. I am 42 years old. Grew up in the Green Bay area. I am married for 7.5 years. My wife and we've got 4 kids together, all girls. I told the wife this was God's way of getting back at me for how I dated back in the day. And first time around, it's like, all right, daddy's little girl. Second time around, it's like, okay, all right.
Okay.
Third time's like, what the hell's going on? Fourth time's like, all right, enough's enough. Right? Let's do something different here, right? But one of the cool things, and I can say not a lot of guys do this, or have had the opportunity to actually do this, but my last child I actually delivered myself. Wife and I, we were going to do a home birth, and I tell you what, you hear about all the complications, all the craziness, and don't do it because if something happens or a breach or whatever else, have a medical professional there. And I was as nervous as hell up until about the week before, and every time that hey, my water broke, whatever else, it's like, oh, all right, this has been going on for a month, all right, false alarm. Well, I tell you what, I got the message downstairs that her water broke, and I'm like, all right, here we go, false alarm. Put the kids in front of a movie and put the baby gate, lock that up and whatever. I get up there and it's like, oh shit.
It's audible time.
Yeah, it's go time. Yeah, it's go time. And I will tell you what, you can ask my wife and she'll tell you that I was born without emotion, because I don't cry. I don't really show emotion towards a lot. It's just, hey, let's get this done, right? Mm-hmm. And the only time I've ever really cried was at the time when the parent cuts the umbilical cord, the dad cuts the umbilical cord. It's like, all right, I'm giving you life, But I'll tell you what, delivering that child, there is not a more amazing moment that a man can go through. From the delivery, making sure everything was going good, making sure everything was, done correctly. Mom's doing good, baby's doing good. By the way, my wife did a phenomenal job. Yeah, I cannot thank her enough for
She's
the
pretty
job.
amazing.
Yeah,
She
she is.
is. She's
We
pretty.
like her.
She's pretty badass.
That's awesome. You know what's funny is Dr. Patrick, he's one of my other BFs, and he also has 4 daughters. They're amazing daughters. So what are the odds of that?
We were just
2 Patricks, 4
Yeah.
daughters.
We were just badasses back in the day, and that's the reason why.
CBA. certified badass.
But I will tell you one thing right now. After delivering that baby, and making sure everyone's doing fine, sitting down on that exercise ball, that ball that you bounce on to move things along. I tell you what, I got hit with a sledgehammer of emotions.
Oh.
I mean, it was something that I have never felt before in my life.
That's awesome.
And it was to the point where I broke down so hard. And my wife's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Just give me a minute."
I can see her
I'm like, I
face
just delivered a
raised
child,
eyebrow. Wait, what?
I mean, it was
Losing blood
Press
in the
pause on
process.
this right now.
right.
Take
It
your
is
time.
Looking
so
like
for-
Hannibal Lecter.
So for anyone out there that is thinking about it, I tell you what, if you're
Yeah.
scared, have a midwife there, have someone that's in the medical professional field there. But I'll tell you what, there is no better feeling a man can go through. No better feeling.
That's awesome.
That's
So
awesome. I
that's
didn't
a
know
feather
that.
in
Man.
my cap, and I like to put it out there just because I'm proud of it.
Most men won't
know?
ever even talk about it if they did. So.
Patrick's better than
Good
me.
job.
Got it. Okay. Well, guys, that was actually awesome introductions. Thank you. Normally people are scrambling to find things to say, so thank you all for sharing. So before I move on to the statements and all the things and the rules and whatnot, I want to also just remind everybody that if you want to be part of the show, reach out to our beloved Erin Walton, who is right there, who did her squats today. Congratulations. I'm giving you a shout out on the air. And please reach her at outreach@thewellnessway.com. Outreach@thewellnessway.com, just like it sounds and spells. So thank you all for being here. So what got this whole podcast going was obviously Doc meeting Dana, but Doc did a wonderful thing called I Disagree, I'd say about 5-6 years ago. And this is kind of stemming from that. And he wants to give people a platform to start talking about things that no one wants to talk about. With that being said, in the last 3 years, there has been more disagreements, controversies, opinions, ideas, failed expectations, character reveals, surprises, disappointments, lies, beliefs, assumptions, and bullshit than ever before. So it's time we start talking about those things. And we need to start talking about things and decide if we want to agree or disagree and actually have a good conversation. I don't care if you agree or disagree, So the rule is this. We don't interrupt each other, of course, but the main thing is I'm going to give a statement. You're going to tell me if you agree or disagree. Don't say anything else. This is the one time I'll ask you just agree or disagree, go around the room, and then we'll give you a chance to go back and talk about it, okay? Now, when I give statements, we do not talk about the exceptions, at least up front, okay? So I don't want to hear it. Here's an example, abortion, okay? The majority of it, 99% of it is for birth control. But everybody wants to argue on the 1% or less of the rape or the molestation or whatever, or the health of the mother. I get it, but that's the exception, not the rule. We can't build a society on exception, so we need to talk about the rules. We start there and we work our way, okay? Fair?
Fair.
All right. So we're going to go for...
You gonna introduce yourself?
Didn't I say that in the beginning?
Did you? I don't know. Did he?
Travis Frisk.
I don't think that he.
Just in case I didn't,
I'm
I
really
am
sure that you didn't.
Okay, well,
Because you made him start there and then you skipped, and I was
okay.
like, oh, he's doing
there
Doc's
you go.
thing.
okay, well, I thought I did.
You pulled a doc.
I had it in my notes. Introduce myself. I even typed it and everything. Well, if I
anyway.
didn't, I apologize. My name is Travis Frisk. I am 42. I've been part of the podcast now for a healthy minute, for all but the first few, I would say.
Yeah.
And I've been
10
working
maybe.
here at the Wellness Way for about 2.5 years. I wear many hats. I love them all. And it's a blessing to work for a friend, Dr. Patrick. And we miss you, but we know you're doing some awesome work out there right now. You're out in Montana, I believe, and you're doing I Disagree book tours. So a lot of people are going to get inspired this next month here. So go get them, Doc. All right. The first one, we're going to mix it up a little bit, but we're going to get through all of them today. You ready?
No.
Yes.
Kids should be allowed to fight in the playground or on the playground. And Joe, you're going to start, or we're going to go this way and come back. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
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 I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Shocking. Okay.
All right. Well, you know what? In just good old fashioned, Joe, why don't you tell us why you agree?
If we can't settle it on the playground, where can we settle it? It all
Ooh.
starts there. We were all 5 years old at one point, and we all had these disagreements at that age, and we thought, well, you're not my best friend anymore, Sarah. We heard all that stuff. So if we can't let kids be kids on a playground, well, how are they going to be able to grow up and be able to have conflict resolution of any kind of sorts at that point?
So
Awesome.
define fight. Because the way you're talking, it sounds like you're talking about words. Because I'm not talking about words when we get to me.
No,
I'm talking
it's
about
not
fists.
words. It's
okay.
fists. It's everything.
I'm just
Yeah.
checking. I'm just checking.
I mean, it's from playing the football games into playing Smear the Queer. It gets into all of that stuff. Like, that's the playground rules that we're talking about because
Are we past the
One
30-second ban on YouTube?
Oh yeah. Yep.
I
We're
like this show.
true.
it's all of that. Like, we get into high school, and the high school stuff is almost more childish than the playground stuff. So
True.
if you can't settle it on the playground, where can you settle it?
There you go. I like that. I never thought of it that way. All right, Hottie.
I would say I agree because, like, literally exactly to your point, where the kids have to be taught at a young age how to deal with conflict. And the constant, we have to be equal, the constant, you have to share, the constant of you're the same as the other person. No, everyone is built different. Everyone has different gifts, and therefore some are athletic, some are brain smart, some are, they're jack of all trades, and they can fit in whatever they want to do. But with the school system, and we've had this with our kids, it doesn't matter. Haley started out in public and then she went to private. Braden was in public and then now he's in a charter school. And it doesn't matter where you go. Kids are bullied. Kids want to do the whole ranking system. Who's better? Who can fight better? If you think about it now as adults, we have people that we go to for certain things. Kids are learning, who do I go to for certain things? Who do I go to if I need to have an emotional response? Definitely not you. If it's someone that I need to have a rational, discussion with, help me get out of my emotions, definitely going to you. So if we don't allow them to figure that out on the playground, they're not going to be able to do it as adults. And let's all be honest, we've all wanted to lay somebody out at some point in our lives. Every single person has thought about it. And I can tell you that my daughter in kindergarten, first couple of weeks of school, she got banned from the bus because she punched somebody in the face because they were picking on her friend and they wouldn't listen to stop and stop and stop. And so she laid him out, a boy. And I was okay with that because she was teaching her friend to stand up for herself, and she was setting that boundary of, no, you will not walk over me when I say no. No means no. And so she has brought that with her into, as she's grown into adulthood, and I love that. And so if we tell the kids to be fair, be kind, always be courteous, you're just teaching them to be passive and be doormats, and that's not effective. Look at the world that we have today. Speaks for itself.
Thank you for sharing. Lorenzo.
Well, I think that the moment that we started saying things like zero tolerance in schools, and that you were going to expel kids for fighting, for settling disputes that way, you started to see an uptick in cowardly behavior amongst all people, right? So then you started seeing people who are cowards became strong, and those who have strong personalities or who are like, they're confident in themselves, they had to become cowards. They had to become weak. And so the cowards now control everything, right? So now the mothers who raised cowards, they still stay at home, or they're looking for mommies in their relationships. And so it has a prolonged effect. It's not just about settling the issues. I mean, it is. I agree with you both. It is about settling the issues as children and taking care of it right there so that you can learn how to function as adults. Because now that we've taken this out of the schools, we've basically told the kids you can't fight. Now, if you fight, we're going to expel you. You're going to have to go to alternative school. You've basically made it so that kids are like, well, I'm just not going to defend myself. I'm going to rely on my parents or this authoritarian. Someone's going to fix my problem for me. The problem is that these are also kids who are overly liberal. So they don't like the police, who are the authorities. They don't like them. They don't like the government. So they want the authorities to fix their problems, but they would like to dictate to the authorities how those problems get fixed. And if they don't get fixed that way, well, then I'm going to get mad at you. And I don't know how to settle this problem because I never got punched in the mouth as a kid, right? And I used to always tell kids, the best way, when you talk too much, a motherfucker punch you in the mouth. So he puts you back in check and lets you know you were talking too much. Well, if you hear too much, that's why you get punched in the ear. You see too much, punch you right in your fucking eye. So it's like if you're thinking too much, you get punched upside the head. That's what happens. You shouldn't have been thinking so much. So it just happens. That's something my father taught me as a kid. I used to tell other kids that. That's what happens. You get your ass kicked, and it teaches you a lesson. There are tons of people who have never had that lesson. Case in point, a lot of people here in Wisconsin, I'm going to tell you right now, I am from Chicago. A lot of you people here in Wisconsin, man, day after day, especially women, right? A lot of these white women up here have never been punched in the motherfucking mouth. Somebody at some point should have punched them in the mouth. And I'm not saying a man had to do it, but I mean, there should have been another girl who said, hey, stop talking to me like that. And then when that girl kept going, they punched her right in the pretty little lips. And she would have thought the next time I'm going to talk shit, she would have thought, I don't know, that bitch got a nasty left hook. Let me not talk to her. But see, all these people have been told that they can do whatever they want, say whatever they want. And so they grow up, and the coward has strength. And now the coward is allowed to be just an asshole and a jerk whenever they want. And even as adults, because we have to restrain ourselves because the consequences are worse for us, we unfortunately can't teach the cowards, because I am all for teaching cowards. I really wish that I could just say, look, you got a problem with me, man. Let's just put these gloves on. We can head right to the gym right now, bro. I'll kick your fucking ass real quick. I'll lay you out. And then we can talk about this shit, and we can get a whole rationale going on why you acting the way you acting, and then we can figure that whole thing out later. But I really do think that not allowing children, I think the proof is we've seen what happens when you don't let kids settle their disputes. You get these adults who are really real pieces of shit.
But you also said two important words, though. Zero tolerance.
Yeah.
This is this construct of this, oh, there's a fight that happened. Well, let's look at the book on how to settle this now. Oh, zero tolerance. Well, we have to suspend you both.
Expel
But what
them.
about the kid who ended up picking up the brass knuckles to stop maybe more violence from happening?
Yeah.
Now that kid falls under that whole thing, and now he's suspended too, just for doing the right thing.
Right. Right. Yeah. With not even suspended, because you always got suspended, right? I got into a lot of fights. You got suspended, right? But you didn't get expelled. Like they weren't putting you out of the school. Like, now you can't come back. Like, that's unheard of. Like, we fight. We have a dispute. Most of the time, you fight your friends. You all will be friends again. You all had a situation. The only time I've ever seen it get really ugly is with girls.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
It gets
If
real
they're
ugly.
men,
Girls
they
are
stay
nasty.
friends.
I mean, like, it gets real, and it doesn't end with the fight. It goes into like some mental shit that like boys wouldn't even understand. Like, damn, y'all trying to make her have anorexia? Y'all really doing that shit, man? We was just gonna kick his ass and give him a wedgie, bro. Like, damn, we was still gonna kick it with him next week. He having a pizza party.
No, the girls don't invite that girl to the pizza party.
Yep.
Oh, no.
No, they just talk about her the whole
And
time.
then they're gonna talk about it.
And then they post on her.
You actually brought something up. I'm going to save it for after you three. Thank you for sharing that. You brought something up I'm going to ask you guys. But go ahead. You're up.
Sure.
Why do you agree?
Actually, I have some similar points to you guys, but I have a similar story to yours too that actually just happened. So I have a 6-year-old. His name's Max, and we got an email from his teacher not that long ago that there was some kid like on the ground or something like that. I don't know if Max actually pushed him on the ground. I don't know how the kid was on the ground, but Max went up and kicked the kid in the crotch. And so we got an email from the teacher about this, among a couple other things that were in the email, also about other friends, like talking about him like playing rough and stuff like that. And then just some other like behavior things when he like came in from inside. But anyway, he kicks his kid in the crotch, right? And she said that, they did pull like footage from the playground to make sure that it actually happened because it was just, kids telling the teacher at that point. And so my husband and I actually we separately, talked to him, and so we got the same exact story from him, and he's 6, so we know if he's lying or not, and you can tell in his eyes and stuff, and we got the exact, same story and everything, because what he told me when I was talking to him is, he said that there was some other kid who was being mean to or making fun of or something like that to his friend, like that kid that he kicked had been being mean to his friend, and so that's why he went up and kicked him, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, dang, good for you, buddy. But I'm like, all right, I'm going to contain a little bit of excitement here. And I'm good. But we explained to him, and we both said that, hey, that's a good job. We're proud of you for standing up for your friend and for being a good friend to your friend. We didn't mention anything about the kicking in the crotch. We didn't mention anything about violence. We didn't mention anything about, that's not how you handle conflicts. Nothing like that. The only piece that came in with, the being rough piece was, hey, if you're playing with your other friends and they think that you're being too rough and they ask you not to, then you got to be respectful of that. But I still love that you're a boy, and I think it's good that you play rough, and I'm glad that you do that. But if your friends ask you not to, then you have to be respectful of that. But the kicking in the crotch thing, nope, we just totally let that piece go. I even emailed his teacher about it, explained, what went on, and said hey, he said he was standing up for a friend, and this is, what we told him, and because I don't know what this teacher thinks either. So
And how did you feel about getting that in an email format? Not even a phone call.
yeah, isn't it kind of a little interesting? I thought
really
that was a little
insensitive,
bit
yeah.
interesting. I don't know. Maybe I kind of thought that same thing too. I'm like, that doesn't rise to the severity of a phone call. I don't know. I thought that was interesting
That
too.
pretty much happened every single time Braden got in trouble
phone
because
call?
he was defending himself or defending somebody else. It was an email. Always.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, and so I
Up until
pretty
the
much,
new school, sorry. Up
Oh.
until the new school he's in now.
Yeah.
Then they call.
Oh, interesting.
Because
we
the
haven't gotten
person
the
in
calls.
charge of reporting that, just like you said, is a coward.
That's right.
Instead of picking up the phone and being a human being, saying, "Hey, we
Whoa.
have to talk."
Yeah.
What do you call cowards?
Oh, soy latte pussified beta males.
Well, it may not be a man. It's probably a cowardly woman.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, it was probably a woman.
Woman or man, yeah, it's a coward.
Yeah. And it probably was somebody in HR, the cowardly
Probably.
department of jobs, that decided to. Yeah, it's where the cowardly lion hangs out. He's
Yeah,
like
it is,
there
it
making
is.
little cow. He's like, do this and do that.
that.
Don't let them say this about this person. And
Yep.
what did he say about me? Well, I inferred he said this.
Yes.
I'm angry.
I love
And then
that.
they go,
I'm offended.
Bird. That's a good
And then
word.
they bark at you like the lion.
Yeah. Policy makers.
Oh,
Like over
man.
50,
Continue,
don't say.
sorry.
Yeah, well, and so I told the teacher, what we talked to Max about, and I just flat out said, I'm like, look, we didn't punish him. We didn't talk, to him really about the whole kicking in the crotch, piece or tell him that it's wrong because we think that people need to be able to stand up for their friends and stand up for themselves, and that's something that's getting lost today, and no matter what it takes to be able to stand up for people. And actually, surprisingly, the response, just so you know, the response I got back was actually she kind of told him the same thing, that she was proud of him for stepping up for his friend, but obviously being in a school had to, say to, try to use different, words and stuff like that, which, whatever.
You can't even be politically correct at that point as the teacher.
I know.
Yep.
I know. Yeah, and I don't know what she actually thinks or anything, but since she wasn't completely appalled by my response, that makes me think, I'm like, oh, you're probably on my side like this. You're probably actually cool, and you know what's going on here, and you probably can't say something.
Yep.
What does she say to the kids? Don't make me email your parents now. Like,
She probably has to email for paper trail reasons. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's
They
probably what
have
needs
to
to happen.
document it.
In case
But-
you ever choose to sue,
Yeah, in case I ever.
Right.
Yeah. Well, but and then I kind of was also like, well, you know what? Hopefully, no one knows to one, mess with Max, or two, mess with any of Max's friends. Hopefully, they all know that going on, or at least that kid knows that going on, or he's getting kicked in the crotch. So all of that kind of say, I agree with this. I think people need to get punched in the face. We've gotten too used to not getting punched in the face because we can hide behind our keyboards. I think this idea, I don't know what fist fights are. Are they misdemeanors, or is it actually considered criminal? I don't know where that is on like the law scale.
It depends on who's doing the fighting.
Yep.
Oh, like what color you are?
Yeah, if I
Okay.
punch Travis, then that was self-defense.
Yeah.
If he punches me, that's racism.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it probably is. I could see that with you guys.
20 years ago it was backwards.
Oh, man.
I would never punch you, but
He's trying to get Nux on that.
He's like, show me some love over here. Oh, jeez.
oh shoot.
But I think this is, coming back to like the school piece of it too. I think this is a bigger piece of like, well, schools exist for programming and programming our kids and what? I just say the truth. Did I take your point?
Maybe.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, I'll only touch on it. You can do some more on it if you want. But
Try being the
that's
last
what,
one. Everything is already talked about. So I'm basically going to be like recapping everything.
Okay, fine. You can do the programming thing. I'm gonna skip over that piece of it. But
you can read my shit handwriting. There it is right now.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yours is better. I'll let you.
Oh,
do
it
that
is
part.
doctor handwriting. Look at that.
It is kind of doctor.
They teach us how to do that in school. We have a class.
Outstanding.
It's called how to
A+.
scribble and read
How to
it.
scribble in nice. No keyboards in that class. Well,
Talk
anyway,
about programming.
The programming.
You really are a doctor.
Oh, absolutely.
Tolerance. You were talking about that too, and it's funny because we've just been preached at of like how we have to tolerate everything. But like, no, we shouldn't. We should probably punch some people in the face and cut some people's heads off, but definitely punch some people in the face at this point, because we shouldn't be tolerating what's going on. That's how we've gotten to the state that we're in now. So we need to actually stop tolerating all the bad behavior that's going on now, and we need to like step up and do something about it. And I don't think it's bad that that's happening at younger ages, and I don't think it's bad that it's happening somewhere at school. And I think I've kind of talked about this before, but okay, if you have a dog and your dog shits on the floor, what do? Do you talk to your dog about how, oh, Rufus, I really didn't like that you shit on my carpet because now it's stained,
Well, no,
and
we need to know his emotional state.
We read a book to him.
well, yeah, well, after you ask what the dog's pronouns are
pooping
first.
outside.
Right.
Pronoun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make sure you know
get
your
the
dog. Yeah,
pronoun.
sorry, make sure you
It's
know
a,
your
yeah,
dog's
pop-up
pronouns.
And get permission to talk to him. He may not be in
But
the
like,
mood.
what do you do? Do you talk to your dog and do you say like, hey, if you're gonna be good, I'll give you some begging strips and I'll give you
No,
some
you
rewards
take
if you
his
should.
face and put it in.
Exactly, and then you spank the dog and you kick the dog outside. That's exactly what you, because animals understand very short, concise communication, very clear communications. Humans are no different. We understand punches in the face, not as much of words of why something is wrong. So that's kind of my other piece. That's how humans learn. That's how humans learn the natural order of things and who's in charge and who actually has authority.
Thank you for sharing. That's good. Good stuff.
All right, so as always, I had to get my thoughts out on paper. So I think on an individual level, I'll get to the school programming in a little bit, but on an individual level, you have to figure out your own strength. You have to figure out where you stand amongst your peers. Because if you don't know that, you're going to be floating around, and you could be the strongest motherfucker out there, but you might not know that. Or you could be the weakest, whatever.
Soy latte pussified beta male.
Thank you. And you would think you're top shit. But honestly, if you don't have the ability or the situation where you can really fight out someone, you'll never know. Like, if you can't get punched in the face or take a punching or give the punching, you'll never know where you stand in that. And honestly, real life punches you in the face, figuratively. So if you can't take a punching when you're younger, all of a sudden you're seeing this development of like Karens and shit, of where they come out and they life punches them in the face, and their response is, well, someone will help me, or something, or I'm just going to lash out emotionally against whomever,
Yep.
whether it's, typical like cash register individual who's probably in high school just trying to make some extra money, but they take out all their aggression on the wrong
It
person.
happened to my daughter when she worked at Festival.
Yeah,
It was just like,
exactly.
oh, this is what Travis was teaching me about. Got it.
Yep. And then also a weakened individual will weaken society.
Yep.
And so, technology has evolved. Our society hasn't really evolved. And the thing that hasn't evolved at all is schooling. If you look at schools from the 1800s, from the 1700s, it is the exact same setup the way it is now. Instead of chalkboards, we have whiteboards. And instead of notebooks, we have iPads. But it's the same shit. Why hasn't it evolved? Because... Well, let's just get to it. The Rockefeller system of school wanted it so you can have a system of slaves, essentially. And so if you're reducing people to that thought process and how to work an 8 to 5 from a school perspective, well, when they get in the real world and they have to work a 9 to 5, suddenly it's the same thing. They're used to it. They've been conditioned by it. And that's how they're taught to be productive and be productive in that little block of window and then go home and do whatever and try and scrape by. And, it used to be the American dream, but now it's like, okay, well, you can't really buy anything with that money anyway, so you might as well just scrape by and have these little tiny things they'll throw you a little bone here and there to keep you in place. And so
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah.
so
What do you? Oh, I know. Being that
Well, to
you and I have
recap
thoughts.
everything, you guys have already taken my thunder. I do agree with all with all the thoughts and the talks, about this. One of the things I'd like to add to it is that take a look at like when we were kids and our parents would talk about when they were on the school grounds, and it was like if your dad came home and he got his ass whooped, well, your dad or your grandpa would say, go back out there and you knock his ass out tomorrow, because you established a pecking order. The problem is that, and just to recap, like everything else here, we have turned into a Karen society. We have turned into everything is based upon emotions. Everything is based upon, well, this is what the textbook says. This is what the agenda is supposed to be in the event that something happens out of the ordinary. Instead of handling it like adults, instead of being good as far as on the playground and settling the actual score. People tend to run to their teachers, run to their HR departments, and it's the first thing that they do.
The tattletale.
Exactly. It's the snitch will get the stitch. And there's a lot of snitches because they don't have a spine, because they were not brought up in a old-fashioned household where if you fucked up, guess what, you got the belt. I can't tell you the number of times that I got the belt from my dad. It was one of those things, hey, you screwed up and you knew you were going to get it, and it's just like with us, fights on the playground. Hey, I tell you what, you've got Timmy and Jimmy out there. Timmy knocks out Jimmy. Well, guess what? Jimmy's going to say, hey, I tell you what, next time I'm coming for you. I'll be frickin' ready. I don't know. I just this whole Karen society, this whole tattletale, and I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to be the warrior behind the keyboard, and I don't want to handle things the right way. Just like you said though, you used to get into fights, and you used to say, hey, we have a pizza party next week, come along. Now it's, God, you've got an attorney letter in the mail, you've got parents that are sitting there saying, what the hell did you do? Well, I just punched him in the mouth. Well, what the hell, caused it? Well, he called my, sibling a name. I've got 4 girls right now, right? 4 little girls under the age of 7. My dad says, you've got boys. If you've ever seen those girls wrestle, they will walk up to each other and knock each other one. And you think I stop it? No.
Nope.
Because I'll tell you what, not everyone is a wolf. When my girls were born at the hospital, they have those big boards, whatever else, where you can write down like the doctor's name, the date and time the baby was born, whatever else. I would always put on there, born a shepherd, she's going to lead. Born a wolf. Why? Because they're the best hunters. Because they protect their pack. And that's what my girls are. I'm not raising them to be these little prissy little things that run around saying, well, you just slapped me. Hell no. If her sister gets hit, guess what? Her other sister's coming out.
Yep.
Because not everyone is able to defend themselves in this world. Not everyone is physically capable. All right. But if you have the ability to protect your family or to protect a friend, I will give my girls the green light at all times to throw a fist. Because you know what, you did what is right.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'm going to give my comment, and then I want to go back to something he sparked me to think of. So as you guys were all talking, I was going through my list, my fighting body count, if you will. Early on, I'll never forget this guy named Troy Mikolajczyk. I was probably 5th, 6th grade, I don't remember. He was in 8th grade. He was definitely older than me, hit puberty. I had not. And I was playing basketball with my neighborhood crew, Paul Piat, my brother, Troy, John Juber, just all the people. And Jed Bowerzak and Troy Mikolajczyk show up, and here I was like kind of the alpha of the neighborhood, right? And I didn't even know what this meant at the time, but I called Troy a fucking lesbian. And the next thing I know, I'm seeing the sky and I'm seeing stars.
Was this the date rape thing?
The date rape thing?
No. Oh, never mind. Different story. I apologize.
It wasn't the date rape drug. It was chloroform.
Oh, okay.
And by the way, it was chloroform. I smelled it. So, but
All right.
but and I tell you this because I got my ass whooped by a bunch of people that were older than I was, and even some people in our grade, like Aaron Lindstrom, got me pretty good. Annie Ottinger, and I'm actually thankful for them, because later in life, I didn't lose. You need the ass whooping and the ass kicking to become that humble person, I believe, to have self-control, know when to pull the trigger, so to speak. That's called being a sheepdog. It's kind of funny you mentioned wolf. I actually always like to use, there's 3 types of people in this world. I know this is not what you meant, but I'm just going to say anyways. There's 3 types of people. There's sheep, and that's what we see. That's probably 90% of the population.
That'd be the cowards.
Yep. Actually, maybe a little less than that, 90%, but that's the cowards, the sheep. And then you got the wolves, the ones that are doing evil, and they know they're doing evil, but they're doing it anyways for their personal gain at the expense of other people, like the Rockefellers. And then you got the sheepdogs, and I see a lot of them sitting here today. I became a sheepdog through the ass whoopings and the ass kickings. And I thank the friends that did that to me. In fact, you and I used to fight in my basement against people. You fought Josh McMahon one time on my 16th birthday, and I fought Denny Freeland. That was quite fun. Remember that?
Dude, we used to have boxing matches downstairs at your parents' house.
Yeah.
And there was only one rule. You do not hit in the face. And I'll never forget, Travis was, were you going against John Jonas, I think it was?
I don't remember.
And you guys were just battling it out. It was just brutal body shot. And I'm like, God, this is like watching Rocky, because Rocky is known for like chopping down the Russian, right? Just body shot after body shot. And but that's how we settled things.
Yeah.
No one walked away with a black eye. We put the gloves on, and if we had a beef, hey, we did it. We just went downstairs and just fought.
We both had our 2 token black friends, right? Because we're in a white community. Tyree and Joe, right? We played Tyree and Joe.
He's got to be. What was his last name? Jones.
Fant.
Obama.
No, but I'll be honest. Like, those are 2 guys that taught me and Patrick how to be self-control. We play one-on-one, and they would whoop our ass physically, and then all of a sudden we got better and better and better. And the next thing you know, we're playing one-on-one. I didn't want to play this guy anymore because he's got the biggest elbows. I mean, he has this guy. He misses calling in the UFC because he's got the craziest elbows, especially when he's rebounding. He knew how to get that ball and clear. But him and I used to fight on the basketball court. We never actually fought, fist to fist, but we fought other ways. We fought each other hard. I'm talking, I was bruised and battered, and I'm hoping vice versa, because you taught me a lot.
I was 100% fine.
There is
I'm just kidding.
Travis, delete that statement. No, but no, it took those moments to become, the men that we are. And it took the ass kickings that I took to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. So I started working on, martial arts, working out, just not just doing nothing with it and becoming a coward. Because if they would have brought that whole school system into the play right in the middle of my ass whoopings, I probably would have been a pussy for the rest of my life.
But see, the thing is that everyone needs to take a step back in life, whether it be in a fight, whether it be in career, whether it be in, marriage or, whatever else, because that determines who you actually are. That shows who you are, what kind of guts you've got. I mean, whether it be in high school and you get your mouth, bloodied up, hey, I tell you what, instead of sitting there saying, I'm not going to go work out, guess what your ass is going to be doing? Working out. It's the same thing when it comes to sports. If you're on the second team or you're the third team or you get cut, guess what you're doing the next time? You're working harder. So for anyone to say that, well, you shouldn't get into a fight, that builds character.
You're right, because I fought a guy that was picking on me and my brother for a long time, and it paid off.
Sorry about that, by the way.
I don't want to talk about it. but seriously, no, I'm going to just circle back to the wins and losses. It's made me the sheepdog that I am, and that's what I'm trying to raise our kids to be. And that's what that is a wonderful, dangerous tool. Jordan Peterson talks about what the Bible said about, the meek shall inherit the earth, but he really defines what meek is. And meek is not what we think. We look at it meek as weak these days, but meek is actually, like right now I'm carrying you too. And but knowing when to use my gun, right? Or when to use these. And that's something you learn at the school grounds, at the park, in your own home with your brothers, whatever, your siblings, whatever you want to talk about. But that's how you do it. Not sitting here behind an attorney or a principal or a teacher,
HR,
who's probably a former hippie, HR, yeah. But yeah, anyways, that you're going back to what I wanted to talk about is this. Do you believe anxiety is higher due to lack of fighting?
Yes.
Ooh.
Who wants to go first?
I'm sorry, what was
That's a
that?
good point.
Do you believe that anxiety is higher due to lack of fighting? I can't remember what you said, but it triggered me to think of that. That's why I wrote it down. You know what? Because you triggered it, why don't you go first?
Yes, because now speaking up for yourself is considered fighting, right? So even having a disagreement of thoughts is considered fighting, right? Now it's all verbal. Like nobody puts their hands on anybody, right? So now they're afraid of a menacing look.
They can't.
I mean, exactly.
They're all on Xbox Live. They're not even next to each other in the
yeah.
same room.
Even in real
They don't know
life.
how to interact.
They're all keyboard
You
warriors.
should listen to
Well, even
Xbox
in- well,
Live.
even in
There's
real
a lot
life.
of things.
I just
spoken
emailed
in
you
there.
and told you you sucked.
Well, even in real life, right? So for instance, in a lot of the urban communities, that's part of the reason why there's so much violence. Is there's so much gun violence because a lot of these guys, they're not settling their problem. There's no man in the home to teach them go out there and fight or no. Like how it used to be a grandmother or somebody older because there was a man in the home, somebody's grandma was around. So then it'd be like, no, y'all go out there and y'all fight. Now it's, well, the example is, I'm going to just go grab this gun. And it's always a gun. It's never a knife. So I don't know what OJ was up to. You ain't black, I guess. I don't know. Joe Biden, you ain't black. So, but I don't get it. I don't get why that. I mean, that's part. That's a big problem. Is that? But I do think that yes, because now people are not comfortable with having conflict. So even like Sunday, I'm with Queen and we went to go get some deli meat and there was a woman and she was very rude and I said to her, hey, you. Just like I said, hey, you. I want to talk to your manager. And she said, oh, I'm sorry. So I said, I don't want to hear all that. Where your manager at? The time for I'm sorry's is over. That's done. And I'm not that kind of guy who's going to say, oh, okay, nah, bitch, I don't want to talk to you. So where's your manager? And so she was like, oh, I mean, he's not here. I said, what's his name? And she told me the name, Doug Kirschling. I got you, Doug. And so,
Come on the show, Doug.
explain yourself. And so your staff
talk
sucks,
about
bro.
this.
Your staff sucks at festival, bro. And so
Which location?
Which one?
the festival in Menasha. You mother, right next to the goddamn CVS. I see you, Doug. I'm coming to see you. So, and if you know Doug, you tell Doug I'm coming to see you.
FBI is shutting us down.
All I have is a hangover now. Doug.
So this lady, I mean, she couldn't even stand there, and then she started like apologizing and talking. I'm like, move to the side. You. And I'm talking to the other one. I said, you. I want to know, where's your manager? This one has been very rude. It's the second time I've dealt with her. That's it for me. I'm done with this situation. I don't want to do this anymore. She went to the back and started crying.
The other one?
No, the one who
Oh,
I
the-
was talking,
oh,
the one
the-
who I
oh.
was talking about. She went to the back, started crying. No,
Oh, man.
I'm gonna just go to the back. They had to get somebody else to cut the meat. I'm like, man, look at all this inconvenience that this person is doing. Fire this motherfucker, dude. She sucks as a person. She can't work, and she's a coward. And she was doing all that, and then they were like, I guess they told Queen something like, oh, she's got some mental problems. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
she sucks
No
as a
shit.
person. Yes, there are
Gosh.
people who suck as people, and their mental illness is I suck as a personism. I suffer from I suck as a person osis. I'm sorry, I suck as a fucking person. That's what the problem is. Ridiculousness. She couldn't handle a person giving her feedback on what she's doing. So I can only imagine what is an evaluation like for her boss, Doug? What is an evaluation like, bro? I can now feel bad for you. My bad.
Yeah.
So how does he tell her to go do a better job? How does he say, hey, when we have customers, I need for you to do like this? Is she gonna say, oh my God, Doug, you were so mean to me? And Doug is probably like, Doug, you probably are a really good dude, Doug. I'm sorry. And so Doug is probably like, nice, big round belly, nice guy, got like
Yeah, Doug's not skinny.
probably got like in his 60s, like I'm about to retire in a few years. I just want to get this stupid woman on board so I can get the fuck out of here. I got a trip to the Bahamas. I have a Bahamian Rihanna looking chick over there. And I'm gonna leave this one for. I can't wait. So Doug is probably Doug. Shout out to Doug. He's probably on his way to go be with a Rihanna-ish looking somebody. He's about to leave this Wisconsin mess that he has here. And he's like, I'm about to go. I don't even care where we live. We can live on the beach. I
Yeah,
don't
we're
care.
all a bunch of
And this
Karens.
girl
Bad
is
ball.
messing up his plans.
Man, messing up his whole entire plan. Now you gotta deal with this angry black man, and he's like, I don't even need these kind of problems. I don't want to deal with either.
Now,
This is
Doug,
why I
now,
give you nuts all the time, man.
and now Doug's got anxiety.
Yeah, now Doug has anxiety. See how everybody, she had anxiety from me because I had anxiety from getting the wrong type of meat. And then I told her, hey, I need this kind of meat. And she go back there and give me the same meat she just gave me. And I'm like, all right, hey, Doug, I want to talk to Doug. I want to talk to the manager. But this is what I'm saying. She's got anxiety because she's not used to somebody saying to her,
Yep.
you're doing something wrong. You need to, and she's used to it being obviously said like, could you ever consider maybe doing it this way? And then
Just like what you were talking about, Dana, with the whole let's talk about it. Do you
Oh,
talk
yeah.
to your dog after
Right.
it craps on the floor?
right.
No.
It's-
Exactly.
I mean, all of these things.
She probably just needs to be punched in the face.
Well, it's just like how on Random Radio, and I'm glad you brought this up. It's a good opportunity to plug. So on Random Radio, the channel that you all should be watching after the I Disagree podcast, that has me on it. And then there's a series of episodes I do called Women Should Not Be Driving. And it clearly shows all these women who should not be behind the wheels of cars. And take a look at the people who need to be punched, kicked, slapped, hit with a 2x4 in the face on these videos. We got people cussing out the cops. Immediately, they walk up, hey, miss, fuck you, what the fuck, me, bitch ass. It's like, whoa. I said hello.
Was Doug riding shotgun?
Man, I don't know, but I feel bad.
Doug was
for
probably in the back.
I haven't heard from this guy over
In
here.
her defense, though, because she has what'd you call it, the I suck at liposis?
Yeah.
That's a serious thing. I mean, come on.
That's a big accusation, though. I want to come to her defense a little bit here because, is this
wanna hear
really
this.
her fault? This goes back to the playground.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When we were all growing up, we were out with our friends. My mom would lock the doors, come back at sundown. When was the last time a mom told kids that these days, period?
Never.
It doesn't
Can't
happen.
because you'd never see them. They'd be abducted.
Yeah.
Maybe in
They're out in
Mexico.
traffic.
I don't know if any abductors would want these children. They're not the kind of
Oh, trust
we
me.
were fun
there's-
kids, right? They want to steal us.
There is.
You know?
Well, our kids are cool. The other ones,
Yeah.
yeah, they drop them off and block down, going, nope, done, get out.
Yeah.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
But it's the playground. It's how we grow up. It's how you mold those people. They're sponges at
Yeah.
that age, and that's how they're going to be the rest of their life. And if you take that away from them, you get people like you're talking. I suck at lifosis.
Yeah.
And,
So,
yeah,
and it goes back to what we did to black people, the '94 crime bill. I mean, over the last 100 years, there's just one thing after another, after another, after another. And when you put them all together, now we can see what they actually did. and everything. And it just didn't happen overnight. And it's the same thing with how we grew up over the last 30, 40 years. And now we have a society that, well, we email from the teacher now. And that's how we handle conflict resolution. And it's not right.
And
we
you
have
wonder,
to change it.
You have to think, Joel, tell me what you think on this. Do you think, this all the school shootings we're seeing, the bombings, all these things,
They're
do you
fake.
think maybe it's just everyone's pent up, and instead of letting out a little steam on their friend, and then resolving after, is it's adding up and causing a lot of people to do stupid shit at the peak of their anger and anxiety and frustration? Is that fair to say?
I mean, I think at one point you might have had some of those people who did that, but I think now you have more. They're on pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah.
They're
It's legit mental illness
Yes,
now.
they're
they got
medicated well before they hit that
Yeah,
stage.
they got other
Yeah.
issues now. So I think, I guess what Dylan Harris and Ryan Klebold, so that would have been Columbine. I guess with them, you could say, okay, bullying and them not being able to defend themselves may have led to that. But I don't think those guys would have ever been able to. They may have needed somebody like you said. They may have needed like somebody to be a wolf to no, these guys need defense.
Mm-hmm.
But they were strange, and then they were kind of weird themselves, and then they weren't really social with others, so they ostracized themselves because instead of them probably fighting at like 10, somebody's telling them to fight at 17.
Yep.
And they're not ready for that. They're like, well, that's not what I do. I'm gonna go grab these guns. I'm just gonna shoot up these schools. I'm gonna shoot up all these people.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys. All right. Disclaimer: I can't turn the chiropractic off. So I think we're missing something. The food supply has drastically changed.
Yeah, let's go down that
Yes.
way.
80% of the signals that go to your brain come from your gut.
Yeah.
So if your gut is messed up and the microbiome in your gut is tanked, because our food is filled with garbage. It's not even food. It shouldn't be food.
No.
It shouldn't be classified as food.
Yep.
If
Before you
your
go on,
brain,
this is to feed on what you're saying. People watching, if you don't believe him when he says that 80% comes from the gut, go to the nearest bar, take a shot of whiskey, and tell me what happens in 15 minutes. Go ahead.
so
Tell us.
Sorry, because
You're
I
good.
get a lot of flack from that. I hear a lot of flack.
So I think people do suck, but why do they suck? You are what you eat. And so if your eating is shitty, you're going to be a representation of that. And if your microbiome is destroyed from the glyphosate that has been put into everything,
Yep.
everything. It's why corn is so bad now. It's why wheat is so bad now, because we don't give the bread an appropriate time to process it with the yeast in there and whatnot. I don't want to get into the chemistry of it all. But if their body is so toxically overloaded with the food, the minute they have something external trigger them like that, and I will say trigger them because they do get triggered very easily, and I'm not defending that at all, but their body's on toxic overload. So the minute something from the outside world hits their world, it is they can't handle it. It's the
Their
straw
bucket-
that broke
their
the
buckets are
camel's
full.
back. Yeah.
Yep. I'll agree with you 100% because we can tell 100% right away when Braden's eating something he shouldn't have eaten. The way he thinks, the brain fog, he can't answer as quick, or he becomes super moody where all of a sudden we're like, whoa, where did that come from? It's instantaneous. You can totally tell. And even if it's an organic, like sugar, boys should not have too much sugar, just FYI.
Kills their testosterone. Don't do it.
Yes. So, but even if it's organic, if you eat too much of the things that your body can't process, you end up acting like an idiot. And there are moments where we go, all right, Braden, what'd you eat? Well, I did okay. Your attitude and your facial expressions and everything else indicates otherwise. So you are 100% correct. So I think this definitely goes back to the original question of back to the kids when they're young. What are we teaching them? What are we feeding them? What are we allowing to happen? Look at the world today. We're millennials.
And it wasn't overnight either.
Correct.
It's
No.
been slowly
Slowly.
changing.
Correct.
And
Because
so
you gotta,
as we've
you gotta slowly
slowly
boil the frog.
yeah, as my age bracket, I've dealt with a lot of it.
Look at this big shiny object right here. Look at you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's just like, okay, last time I was on podcast, I was talking about how I used to want to eat Pop-Tarts all the time. And, what 6-year-old doesn't want Pop-Tarts? But if you look at it, it's red 40 and yellow 5. And everything in there is a neurotransmitter inhibitor or a hormone disruptor or something along those lines. Or it's just an absolute nuke to your microbiome. And so you're feeding all this bad bacteria that thrives on that crap versus the good bacteria that needs to be there that feeds on things like avocados and feeds on things that should be there, like proteins, meats, you know, strong fibrous vegetables, fermented foods. That's what helps build your body to be good. And we used to eat all that all the time. And that's why we didn't see these problems growing up. For like my dad in the 60s, like this was not a thing for him, but it's a thing for my generation because the food has just slowly declined to the point of we've just gotten used to a little bit and then used to a little bit and then used to it a little bit. And all of a sudden we're at this stage where people are like, what happened? But you know, it's a great example of the frog boiling. It's all of a sudden the water's boiling and we're like, well,
It's too late.
what? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just generation after generation. And I mean, organic food even has glyphosate on it at this point. You can't, because it's in the rainwater, and then there's birth control in our water. Don't ever drink tap water.
If
guys.
you, they did a study
Water
on,
troll Grace.
don't ever drink tap water.
So-
Don't
If-
drink tap
Don't
water.
even
It's
I was
awful.
gonna
It's
say-
awful.
Especially Milk Icona.
if you took inorganic strawberries and you pressed them out and you took the liquid that got pressed out from them, there is enough herbicide in them to then spray the entire field again in one batch of strawberries.
Yeah,
That's
I
how
believe
much
that.
they're absorbing because fruit absorbs that stuff. And so now you're eating it. And so you're absorbing it. And so now you're pesticides running around. And is that good for the brain? Is that good for the gut? Is that good for emotions or how your body handles it?
Well, it's good for the people.
Rockefellers?
Monsanto.
Well, I mean, you know, you all have mentioned that Rockefeller. I'm gonna say as a Rockefeller myself, because I identify with them I'm a family member. So if they didn't know,
Cousin of Jimmy, right?
I am the cousin I am the cousin of Arnold. He is the long lost cousin. He's from the farm. Yeah, I don't want to talk about his life. It was tragic.
Just
But
seems
he's-
like if we're like in the
Arnold,
same
Arnold
limbo.
Lee Rockefeller. He's the one that they tried to forget. You can't forget him. You can't forget my father and my
Or Doug.
uncle.
Or
That's
Doug.
right.
Doug.
And we love Doug too. But all of that is very much so true. And it's unfortunate, but it's working out for for the group that they wanted to work for. You see it right now. All these people are out here fighting and protesting and getting so emotionally involved into all of these things that don't make sense. People who play video games and they are getting so emotionally invested into a video game that you either break a TV, you break the controller, or I understand a child doing it, right? You're a kid, but you're a grown man,
Yep,
and this
the
is your
adults.
behavior. Man, this is working for this industry because you can't function without that controller, so you'll be buying another one.
Yep.
Or these individuals who cannot cope in society, so they constantly are taking in that drug. And they're constantly doing exactly what society wants. We want to break down society so that we have this society of people who all function like 14-year-old girls. Period. Men
Easy to
function like
control.
them.
Yep.
Women function like them. Everybody functions like a 14-year-old girl. One minute we got, and you are so easily controllable.
Yep.
And I say that because I used to say women. When I started looking at women, and I was like, the older women get, they actually get a little bit more smarter as they get older. By the time they hit about 60, 65, they're like fucking geniuses. Like they know everything. And it's like, where has this person been? But man, when they are 14, they are it is like, who is this person? Like one day it's a princess, and then the next day it's like this monster here. Where did this little evil thing come from? But that's how they want us all to be. And they can guide us. And I say they, meaning pharmaceutical companies, government, medical industry, consumer, those who are creating our consumer products.
Yep.
They got us. I go back to when Freud and oh my God, I can't believe I forgot this. God damn it, the man's name. Jesus Christ. He created PR. He created public relations. Why can I not remember this man's name? He's Freud's nephew.
Jesus Christ.
No, it's
Did,
not Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ would never have liked
PR?
this. Anyway, either way, all of these things is all to control the and we're buying into it. Like you said, with the whole thing with the black community. But they've been doing this whole thing with the food and putting the processed foods in the poor communities. So they've already had this hold on the African American demographic and already controlling them through the diet. So the African American demographic doesn't even understand the hold that's been done to them by their own people, their own leadership, who said, yes, do that to them. Don't do it to me. Don't give it to my kids. Tell me what I don't give my kids, and you give it to them over there. And they keep doing it. Hispanic families too. Here's a good example. Here's a good example. In 2013, they had instituted a sugar tax. Do you remember this?
Yep.
They instituted a sugar tax in Philadelphia
Yep.
and in Chicago and I think in a portion of New York, right?
Yep.
And this tax was supposed to be done to charge people who pay for sugary products more because you're killing yourself. We're going to stop you from using sugar. Well, of course, the research shows
Yep.
the people who are buying the sugary products are those who are getting EBT and food assistance.
Yep.
So
Food
they're
stamps.
the ones who are getting the sugary products.
Yep.
And all this information was put out by politicians, the NAACP, the Heritage Foundation, which is for the Hispanics. Do you know? Because I have an episode about this. You guys can go and check it out. Do you know that the NAACP, the Heritage Foundation, all are supported by Coca-Cola, who gives them big, big donations yearly. So Coca-Cola told them, promote the sugar tax.
Yep.
And it sounds crazy, right? Because you would think Coca-Cola would be like, don't promote the sugar tax. But Coca-Cola made so much in revenue off of EBT sales. People went out and bought hordes of sugar because they were like, well, I'm going to buy it. I ain't got to pay for it. Because as the sales decline from those who don't receive it, those who buy more, who were able to buy more of it, then it was on sale. It was on sale for everybody to buy now because now the sugar tax is crazy. And so
Everybody made money.
everybody made money. And in the end, black people and Mexican people ended up having higher rates of diabetes. And the outcome was this. My mother always says this because she works in the medical industry. The outcome was this. Go to any urban area. You will see a dialysis shop almost on every corner. That was the outcome. So they could make money for years to come off of this same demographic, based off of just doing the same thing.
Yep.
If
Pay
you're
to play.
healthy, you're not paying, and if you're dead, you're not paying.
Yep.
So you got to be in the middle.
Right.
That's interesting.
Right.
Is there anybody else who want to share on this before I wrap it up? Because I'm wrapping up.
What did you say again? What about anxiety did you say again?
No, just do you believe anxiety is higher due to lack of fighting?
Oh, gotcha.
So basically, because of all the system we've created now here, we don't have that access to fight, and I think people are just pent up.
I think the one thing I was going to add to that I was thinking about while we were talking about this, it indirectly relates, I guess maybe, is that I talk about this on lots of episodes, but I talk about how like life has gotten so easy and so cush, right? It's pretty easy when someone's not coming to beat you up. It's pretty easy when you got $1,000 device that gives you the entire world sitting right in your hand, and for whatever reason we'll drop them on the floor all the time and don't think anything of it. I don't know, right? Like, oh no, and then we can laugh at it because we don't have real. If you have one of these, you don't like have real problems in life, right? We all just make up problems at this point because life is so cush and life is so easy, and when it gets like that, your brain, it can't handle that because your brain does need to have challenges to keep it like interested in life. But now those challenges are coming in the form of like made up problems, like someone called me the wrong pronoun, or I'm not the right gender, or that person said something offensive because they don't believe that I'm actually a cat.
A microaggression.
Yeah, exactly.
What is that?
Right.
I have never had a microaggression. I don't even
It's
know
right.
what that is.
Remember the in the 80s micro machines?
Yeah.
Know what that is?
Oh, I used to. Oh,
The guy that talks like
when
really,
you
really
lose
fast,
them, is that a
yeah.
microaggression? Because
Yes.
you lost one.
You get aggressive because
Or
you
when
can't
you
find
step
it.
on it.
Oh, okay. okay. So then my father had microaggression.
Yeah.
Those are just called Legos.
Yes.
Legos.
Legos
They're
and
micro too.
Yeah.
Got it.
Legos
Okay.
and the cars.
Got it.
Yeah.
So anything small,
Plug
your
your
feet,
Home Alone
things
around
small that
Christmas
you step
time.
on, that's a microaggression.
That's a microaggression.
So I'm gonna wrap this one up. I'm just gonna say this. You know what? If Braden came home or I got a call from his teacher that he just
Hopefully.
cold cocked, fist to the face, down an email, and I find out why, and it's for the right reasons, I ain't do nothing, because what he's doing is he's establishing himself as a sheepdog, but he's also teaching that kid a lesson.
Yep.
Get humble, or you're gonna find out in a hurry. And when you get to the real world, I think that's why people are freaking out too, because they think it's all, sunshine, rainbows, unicorns, and therapy puppies and safe rooms. It's not. It's not at all. It's we lived in a great time. So how old are you? Am I asking again? 40. Yeah. So you're in the same range. So
Young buck.
we all lived. we all lived in an era
I'll
where
take that.
we got to
I'm
throw
42.
some fists. So
I'm
Yeah.
it's
you
made us
young buck.
stronger because
How
of
old are
it.
you?
But
42.
42.
I was kind of hoping he was going to say 49, honestly.
Oh yeah. Two Patricks. Both 49.
That's
Four
what I was
daughters.
hoping for. I didn't think you were 49.
I got a lot more hair though.
Oh,
That's,
yeah.
that's true.
So here, next statement. Next statement. You ready for this? This one is going to be fun.
The first one was kind of fun.
I don't know. These
I
other
could-
ones are spicy.
I could never be friends with a stay-at-home dad. I could never be friends with a stay-at-home dad.
So for females, would it be a stay-at-home
Nope.
mom, or is it just
Stay-at-home
it's a
dad.
stay-at-home
Stay-at-home
dad?
dad.
Okay.
Why don't you go first? Agree
Dang,
or disagree,
he
and we'll
doesn't
go
tell
around
you
the
ahead
room.
of time, does he?
I disagree.
All right.
Disagree? Okay.
I disagree.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree.
Remember now, this is the
Ooh.
rule, not the exception.
Say it again.
I could never be friends with a stay-at-home dad.
I'm gonna say I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Disagree.
Okay. Well, Patrick.
Oh, finally. Yes. I've been waiting for like one of these where it's like,
Rules.
okay,
Let's
majority.
surround this one. So I disagree because number one thing that any parent is going to understand, and when I say a parent, the parent that works outside the house, a stay-at-home parent, whether it be mom or dad, it is a very challenging job. It's not, hey, I'm punching in at 8, I'm out at 5. There was a time where my wife was, sick and I had to take off of work, just like today. And I only had 3 out of the 4 of them home. And I will tell you one thing right now. It is chaos. I don't care what anyone says. You can work any job. And it does not compete with being a stay-at-home dad or a stay-at-home mom, but this is for the dad side.
Yeah.
So I respect the hell out of anyone that stays home. Being a dad, yeah, it's not the cliche dads at work and moms at home. But I'll tell you what, in today's society, everyone is going to be different. There's going to be female doctors, there's going to be male doctors. There's the ability for one of the spouses to stay home. The gender roles that were back in the 60s of, Wally going to, work and, mom staying home, that's pretty much gone. Now you have 2 income families, and if you do have, the ability where you are a dad and he is, working at the, house because mom's making great money and she's able to, support the family. Well, great. It doesn't discredit him in any way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the situation that the family's in. But I will tell you, from the time that I had to stay home, I give props to any dad or any mom.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So you would be friends or wouldn't be
I was
friends?
like, because
Oh,
you
I
didn't
would.
answer
Oh,
whether
I
you'd
would-
be
I
friends. You're
would-
saying you respect
I would
them.
I would be complete friends. Yes.
Okay.
That's part 1. Part 2, and this is going to be the short one. If you've ever watched TikTok during COVID, ever gone on TikTok, you mean to tell me that the videos that were out there during COVID where everyone was staying at home and the dads were boozing it up and they would bring their, recyclables out and it was all booze bottles, wine bottles, whatever else, dad's just having a fucking blast? Yeah, I want to be his friend. Them boys, when the kids are asleep, I can guarantee them boys are having fun. I can guarantee they're saying, "Hey, jump on Xbox Live. Let's freaking play Madden."
Kids are asleep for an hour. Let's go.
Yeah. I got the tequila out. Let's do this.
But I think
So,
I think it's fair to say with that COVID's the exception, because how often does that come around?
It'll probably come around this year.
Oh,
Yeah, I was going to say,
Well,
we're only a
until
year
it
away
does.
from another
Until
one,
it does.
actually.
Right?
So,
Elections
I
coming.
mean the Chinese flu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah, what, is it herpessyphilitis this time around?
Gonosyphilis.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
That's just
oh, that's a good one.
same
That's a different one.
same bug, different strand, kind of like Omicron to COVID.
Yeah. It's the gift that keeps
All right,
giving.
it's your turn. I'm just
Go ahead. You
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
digress.
So to answer this question, I'm gonna go anecdotally and then I'll go like societally. So anecdotally, Rachel's family was a stay-at-home dad, and being a stay-at-home dad doesn't mean you didn't have to have success in your previous life, Her dad was a super successful tech guy in the banking world, and he was given the opportunity to have a payoff and be he could walk away for a paycheck, and that's what he did. He ended up being a great stay-at-home dad, and so her mom could keep working and is still working to this day to support the family. But he was at every single field hockey game that her sister played. Rachel was a cheerleader, so he was at every single cheer competition from literally Maine to North Carolina. He went to every single one of them. He was always there for the girls, doing whatever he could to support that family. He was doing the typical laundry. He would always cook at home. He'd make these great meals. He planned these themes for her when she was growing up, and that's all she kind of knew in her like active memory. And so there was nothing wrong with that. And I think it really allowed their family to bond because he could hold down the fort at home, and he could keep the family together as a unit when he could run the house. And I think that brings me to my next point of society at large is, they're trying to destroy the nuclear family. So if your dad's at home, that is what they're afraid of. They're afraid of the dad being at home to teach the kids to not be able to be the future Karens of the world. They're at home to teach their sons and teach their daughters to be the sheepdogs of the world. They're there to actually be in the home, teach everyone, and then also when the mom comes home, she can kind of just, get home, I'm tired, and do nothing, and the dad's there just to keep it all together.
But could you be friends with him?
Of course. I'm dating a product of one of them. Well, I guess now I'm engaged to one of them. All right. Sorry, Rach.
Just because we're talking a lot about like
Travis,
we're going
that.
straight to the thing of like defending that's like okay, and we're not really getting the piece of like being friends with. You know what I mean? Because that's the automatic that everybody wants to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Also, how old was he when he stayed home? I'm just curious.
Do some math. I'd say probably around 35.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense for what I was thinking. He wasn't going to be in his 20s, and he wasn't going to be in his early 30s if he's doing what you said that he was doing. So I read this book. It's called Kings of the Kingdom, and it goes through like the stages of men's life, and they actually talk about. It's called the king stage, but if men are in the king stage, they actually make like the most excellent dads a lot of the times, not all the time, but a lot of the times, because they are able to be a little bit more involved because they've already done the building their empire thing. Mm-hmm. So that's why I figured he had to be at least a little bit like older in terms of like a parent. So
yeah. Well, since you're still talking.
Since I'm still talking, yep, I said that I disagree. So the reason, the angle that I'm going to come at this from is I feel like saying I could never be friends with a stay-at-home dad would be the equivalent of me saying I could never be friends with a Democrat. Or I could never be friends with an atheist. And that's not true. I have friends that are atheists and I have friends that are Democrats. I even have a couple friends that are both atheists and Democrats. And so, I know. And I like them. And I get along with them and we talk great and it's great. But so I feel like that statement's kind of the same thing where it's like, yeah, I don't have any friends that are stay-at-home dads. But I feel like, well, in theory, I probably could be friends with one of them because I have friends of all these other kinds of walks of life. So we probably could be friends. Now, I'll caveat that to say though, or get, a little more granular, a little more specific here that, okay, I'll be like probably friends with them, but they're not going to be the people that I'm probably doing life with. And they're not going to be the people who are in my really inner circle because I don't have probably a whole lot in common with them because they're doing the kid thing and the at-home thing. And I'm not really built for the like at-home thing. I'm built for the things that I'm doing right now. And I'm in a season now, especially of building and grinding and doing like a lot of like the work things that really fuel my soul. And I love my two little boys, but I'm not meant to really just like stay at home with them. I love that parents stay at home, and I don't care if the dad wants to stay at home if that's what works for his family. I love when moms want to stay at home. I have a ton of clients that are stay-at-home moms, and I think that's great, and I think we need more of it, but that's not what I'm doing. So I don't have a whole lot in common with those people, and that goes for the stay-at-home mom too. A stay-at-home mom, if we really want to make people mad, they're probably not making it into my like tightest knit inner circle of people either because of the season of life that I'm in. I can be friends with them, but you're not going to be my 5% friends or like my very inner circle of friends just because we don't share a whole lot of the same values, I guess. Well, maybe I shouldn't say the word values, but we're not in the same season right now. Maybe later on we would end up being friends when their kids are older and they're looking to do, different things, just like all the moms groups right now who have the little kids. those moms 15 years from now probably aren't going to be friends. They're going to have different friends that, are doing different things. But that's why I said I disagreed with it. I think I could be friends with them. They're not going to be a close friend, but I could be friends with them.
Cool.
One of my best friends is a stay-at-home dad, so I can't be friends with him, and I am friends with him.
Is it Kels?
No,
Oh.
it's not Kels. Kels has.
Is it Doug?
No. Obviously, Doug is not a stay-at-home dad. He's the manager.
He might want to be after that.
That might be why he's that might be why he's
Maybe
quitting.
that's why he wasn't there.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I have a friend. He was a stay-at-home dad for a while. His kids are now in high school, so he's back working. But he was there because his wife already had established herself at her job, and he was like, "Well, I'm not really doing anything much, so I'm gonna take care of the kids," and that's what he did. And it was fine. And we've been friends since I was 15, and we were friends then. And Dana, you're biased as hell. That sounded like so judgy.
What?
Well, everything you just said.
Oh, everything. Well, that's
I
what I'm
almost
here
felt
for.
like, oh my God. I'm going to become a stay-at-home dad. I'm going to come over to your house every day with my child.
Well, that's fine. I'll be friends with you.
Yeah, well.
I was very clear I would be friends.
We're going to hang out too.
Okay.
All the time.
There are exceptions
We're
to
going to be
rules.
best friends.
Oh, there's the
We're
exception.
going to be best of friends. You're going to know me. I'm going to know you. We're going to exchange blood types, all of that.
I'm be positive.
That's a little creepy. All right, Sarah, you're next.
How do I follow that?
You don't.
Wow. All right. So I said I agree that I could not be friends with a stay-at-home dad, and the answer is probably not going to. You're probably not going to. I'm just going to say it. So the reason why I would not be friends with a stay-at-home dad is because of the fact of, for one, I'm female. I would not like to be friends, and because how do I want to word this? So as I've grown in my life and in my faith, I realize that when you put the word friend to a person, it means you care about them. Because we have a lot of acquaintances, there's a lot of people we know, but if I were to say you're my friend...
We're Facebook official, Sarah. It's okay.
Oh, it totally. Mm-hmm. But no, like, you are my friend. I will totally agree with that. And you are not a stay-at-home dad. No, you work your ass off. Anyway, so to say that he'd be my friend would be someone that I care about. And he's not on the same playing field that I am to what you were saying, Dana. I have nothing to relate to that. And obviously, if he's a stay-at-home dad, I would assume he's married or at least maybe divorced or whatever. He's got kids. That's a whole different mindset than me being a female and I work. So if I'm friends with a stay-at-home dad and he's at, the soccer games and he's at this and all the whatever, we're taking pictures or, we've got things to talk about. And then what if his wife is now at events? I'm closer to him than I am to her. I feel like that would be very inappropriate. You're opening up a door, in my opinion, to situations that can lead to animosity for the wife who's working. Why are you more closer to her than you are to me? What does this show the kids? And again, this is all, kind of situational, hearsay, whatever. But let's be honest, how many times in this society does that happen? Where you have females and males that are very, very close because they're together all the time and they're not with their spouses and they're further apart and they have nothing to relate to, they have nothing to talk about. But you have married couples that are not together and they're more in touch with each other and their kids than their spouses. So I believe that for one as a female, you should not be friends with a married man or divorced, whatever the situation is. If he's a stay-at-home dad, he's there to focus on the kids and his wife. And so I would not be friends with a stay-at-home dad.
That's a very interesting take. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing. JoJo.
I disagree because of the question. I don't like the question, Travis. It
was a statement.
It's back to what you said about the nuclear family. That's where I just cut the line right there, is that once we made the woman leave the house, all bets are off. We empowered you to go get your career, go do whatever, go do everything. But now, family is no longer number one. And that should be always the case, no matter what. That's how it was. You brought up the 60s. Civilization started well before the 60s. There's just so much to what the woman means to the family and being able
Joe,
to have.
lean into your mic.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
So the question, would I be friends with one? Absolutely. You can be, because that's how we are with anyone in life. But specifically, it's the society constructs that we've gotten to with this point that everything has to change. We have to go back to how things were 100 years ago. I recently just came across this 8th grade final from 1895. I'll share it with you guys. When I read it through it, I'm like, I couldn't answer 75% of the stuff that's on here. Society has been slowly dumbed down.
Yeah.
And that's part of this whole thing where if we're going to allow the father to be at home and not the mom, these people won. They kicked our ass already. You want people at festival foods that can't even help you at the deli counter?
I do that.
There's your sign. Dad was probably at home, not the mom.
Yeah. This is, it's not a very abrasive comment or a
Well-
statement, you know what I mean? But this is a hard one for me because I have a friend who is the husband of our top nurse practitioner. But is he the exception or the rule? So I had to think about that. But I thought about it from all the angles. But because believe it or not, I do think sometimes. Anyways, so what really got me was the word never.
Yeah.
Never is what made me say I disagree. But there's a lot of me, and I have to reflect on the flip coin of that too. I look at my inner circle. I don't see any stay-at-home dads. Is that on purpose? I don't think it is. But what I'm trying to do is I want people in my life that are going to speak into my life that have value. And although a stay-at-home dad has value, I can't relate to it. So therefore, would I be a friend with them? I don't know. I don't know the answer. But I think overall, it's the key word, never, that got me to say I disagree, because I never want to say never. I hate using absolutes. So I think if we would reword the statement, it would be a much more pleasant conversation maybe, but that's not what we do. We try to make it, make a rule out of
It's
everything.
your statement. You're supposed to agree with it.
I know, I'm not. It was a statement that we all came up with, but I thought about this because it came down to the word never for
Bader
me.
did not come up with that statement.
Well,
Did we have stay-at-home dads 100 years ago? 200 years ago?
no.
So what changed?
So here's what changed. Women have been told that they can do what men are supposed to do.
The
and now
feminists.
men are becoming.
Soy latte pussified beta males.
Can you be friends with a soy latte pussified beta male?
No.
Are you
I
asking
think-
or are you saying?
I
a
think
statement?
I'm asking.
I think I'd probably draw the line there because I think there'd just be a little too much, maybe like whining going on, that we just wouldn't be friends in general.
That was a good one. I like that.
I'd be so annoyed.
Yeah, I'd be like,
Could never.
oh, you're like the women I don't like. Ah, and it'd drive
Exactly.
me nuts.
I am not friends with any Karens for a
But-
reason.
but
That's
let me
what
just
it would be like.
but I really want to come back to this. So my GUI center is this. I am old-fashioned. I love watching my dad take care of us. And Mom, she got to do part-time jobs as she saw fit, and she was good at that too, but it wasn't a necessity. Dad's job was the necessity. He hated his job. He had pain. He brought pain all the time. He was struggling, and I saw it. He had it down to the minute within 20 years of his retirement. He did it. He sucked it up. We're capable of doing that. We have, if you want to go with science here or health-wise, we have the hormones that are consistent for it. Now we're asking women to do the same thing a man does with 4 different weeks in that month, in that cycle. So, Amanda, you mentioned, I'm going healthier for a second, you actually married 4 wives.
Yeah.
Each week the hormones change to help make sure that, obviously, you know what I'm talking about because you have 4 kids.
Yep.
So, they're not meant to be that way. I would love to see a man be able to take his family and support him on his own, but we don't have that anymore. We've turned it around, and now Doc takes good care of us, but we're a two income home. Because we have to be, just to have the
You
lifestyle.
can't live
Yeah.
on one income anymore. It's
yeah, because
impossible.
we're not going to eat crap food.
Yeah.
Hashtag Bidenomics.
Yep. So, but
Agreed.
I'm old school. So
Yeah.
unless you got the exception, in my opinion, where you got a sugar mama just bring in the bacon. You know what I mean? I get it. But I'm telling you right now, I think men in general, if you were raised up right and in a strong man and being a sheepdog, you won't stay home. You shouldn't stay home. You have too much to offer the society. Instead of having some
Boss bitch? Wait.
Boss
what?
bitch, soy,
Yeah.
pussified.
I don't, yeah,
bit-
I'll come up with one of those for women too.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
think on that.
But now you're taking yourself out of society. You're keeping yourself in the home, right? And now, and here's the other thing we haven't talked about yet. You're putting more pressure on your spouse, your wife. So you're putting more pressure on her to be successful when she already is under pressure with just being a different person every week.
I have a question on that. So, Zach, you said that your fiance's dad stayed home. So, has there been conversations, or was there conversations in the home when they were younger with the daughters to explain that this is an exception, not the norm, so that the daughters don't look at the dad being home as a situation of that's what I want from my man?
I think they very much understood that it was an exception.
Okay.
I mean, I think, okay, so this brings me back to the point I had a comment on one of the things you said, because, you know, he was the dad amongst the women at the cheer competitions and the field hockey games. And I think that they understood that it was the rarity that the dad would show up to all the games, because very rarely did the other dad show up. But I think that, and not that this happened with him, but I think if one of the dads is closer to one of the other moms of the kids, then I think that's a poor reflection on the relationship at large, and not so much them as friends or the situation. I think it's just, if that's what's occurring, then, you know, the two couples are somewhere in a communication deficit that's allowing to be. And if there's no consistency or communication at home, then that's what leads to those kinds of problems. But if the home is strong enough, then that thing won't, there'll be a boundary that exists that it won't get to that stage.
And I totally agree. Absolutely. And that's awesome. I love that, because obviously she sees you are, you know, becoming a doctor, and so you're going to be working. So
I told her I want to make her salary that she makes in a year in a week. So
there you go.
Nice.
Good. And that's awesome. And that definitely, in my opinion, I believe is the exception. But kind of to your point, Joe, in regards to the traditional family, a lot of the traditional families are all falling apart, and you end up with, there are more opportunities for having an emotional affair nowadays than it is the opposite. So that's why I had asked to make sure that having that understanding, or those girls, because Doc says it all the time, you know, teach boys or have boys realize that life is hard, but for girls to teach them that life is hard, to have the actual conversations with them, but to beat the boy's ass.
Yeah, make life hard.
Yeah. So I like the fact that they have that clear understanding to where the girls aren't being set up to go, well, you know, I want a great solid man like that, and I want him to stay home like my dad did. And the only thing that's out there in the world is the
Soy latte pussified beta males.
yeah, I can't say it as fluent tissue. So otherwise I would.
I just got away. I just got away with it.
So that's the reason why I wanted to ask, to make sure that they understand that, which is awesome.
well, I think this whole segment is the exception, not the rule. I mean, I don't think there's any stay-at-home dad.
Exception.
Yeah, I think stay-at-home dads are the exception. And
They're becoming very common,
if
though.
you've
It's almost like
I don't-
20%ish of stay-at-home parents, I think. I looked it up the other
But
day.
are those really stay-at-home dads, or are they just dads
or are they just
staying
working at home?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
You know,
that's what I was.
because
I've been
my
wondering
buddy
that too.
Arius was a real, like, he did not want Erica to quit her job, but he knew that she had to go back to work because she liked what she did, and he was like, well, I'm in between jobs, I don't have to work, I can just take care of the kids. Like I said, and that's why I haven't had anything to say about that situation, because he is the exception.
Yeah.
He is not like most men that I know, and we are still friends because I respect him as a father. Like, he's not raising his boys, telling them this is normal. He lets them know, no, I stay at home. And he always tells them, I stay at home so I can kick your ass. That's why I'm staying at home. So
See,
he
now
still
that's
is,
good.
Yeah.
Right, he still is a father. Like, he's not like, oh, I'm coddling them. No, he's like, I'm gonna be at the football games, I'm toughening them up. When they had fights and Ethan ran home, he was like, what you running home to me for? Let's go back down there and whoop that
Mom's
little,
not home.
you know, let's
Yeah.
go whoop his ass real quick for your mama get home and she start whooping my ass. So let's go. And so you take him back down there and then they fight, and then he like have to explain it to Erica later. Like, yeah, I took him down there, and she like, well, why you got him fighting the boy down the street? And he's like, hey man, that's just what happens, man.
You want me staying home?
I punched Larry in the mouth when he was 15, okay? So
That's awesome.
How about just like the daycare aspect of it? Well, daycare for children, what is it, like $1,100 a month or
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
At the
That's
minimum.
like cheap.
That's
yeah.
that's at a
Man.
shitty
That's-
daycare.
yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So at that point, as
Yep.
the other spouse, you could just not work and stay at home and do a better job than actually paying for the shitty daycare. Then.
Yes.
Have you seen the statistics on single women households versus
Yeah, I
single
was
male
just
households?
going to ask
Yeah.
you to rephrase that because you brought that up when you were sitting over there a few weeks ago.
I did.
Yes.
If you look at the success rate of children that come from single male households, it is almost statistically insignificant relative to a dual parent household. But if you look at the statistics on children that come from single mother households, they are way worse off.
Yeah.
And
I agree
you
with
look at the
that.
black
That
community
makes
at
a lot of
large
sense.
Yeah.
of like
That makes a lot
since
of
sense.
LBJ
Is a good example.
destroyed the nuclear family.
Yeah.
You know, even through the civil rights movement, 75% of black households were dual parent households, and
That's
now
right.
it's mostly single mother households, and you see where the
83%.
community is.
Yeah.
And so having that male in the home really helps. And I'm not just saying like the stay-at-home dad, but having the male and the father figure in their household really can shape a child's life. And so I don't think it matters if they're stay-at-home or if they're out in the workforce. I think if they have that presence and that ability to lead their family, because stay-at-home doesn't mean they're not doing anything either.
Right.
And they're not
Yeah.
just sitting on
Oh,
their
yeah.
hands doing
Right,
nothing.
yeah.
But I think that it can have tremendous effects if you know you don't want your kids to get into the school system that could lead them down whatever pathway it's leading kids down to now. It's a very viable option to stay at home and teach them.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to
Yeah.
clarify just for everybody too. When we talk about this statement, we're not talking about the dad who is a loser sitting in the basement playing video games versus being part of society, trying to help from a parent standpoint, whatever. We're taking them out of the equation. This is just straight up dads, right, who are choosing to be home as a stay-at-home dad, not the loser kind, although that's probably not even an exception. It's probably that might even be the rule these days. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
Actually,
realistically,
I don't even know.
do you see
actually.
how
Does
do you
it
see how
even
the
exist,
statement?
though?
But this state, what's that?
Does it even exist? Because at this point, both parents have to work to even make ends meet.
Well, I don't know.
I think the
There's a
people that are
lot of-
staying at home,
But
the
this is
males that
why
stay
this
at home
is-
like that, don't
this
have
is-
kids.
Yeah, or they do have kids, but they're getting money from the government.
Yeah.
It is
Correct.
so good.
And that's why this is such a
Or
good
they're
statement.
living in their parents' house.
Oh, that's
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why it's a good statement. It actually it sounds kind of rough at first, but then you start opening it up, and there's a lot of angles you can take this one because there's a lot of examples out there, and I don't really know if one is a rule or one is the exception anymore. I don't know. Just our society is so upside down. So I think in general, we should agree that we don't want stay-at-home dads, but there's the exception. So here we are.
You know, and I'll say I don't have kids, but one day I hopefully will. But 2019, I was working for a company. They went out of business. I started my own business servicing water customers and everything.
You know what? Give yourself a little shout out here.
It's,
What-
it's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. One second. Let's get through this real quick, and then maybe we'll
Yeah,
get to it.
LLB and it's on his shirt. I'm just kidding.
Is that what this is? I got it for Christmas. I have no idea. I got to find something nice to wear in the closet. I'm like, can't just wear the regular day in, day out stuff. But, so that happened. 2019, I became my own boss. You have all these freedoms all of a sudden. You don't have someone saying, hey, you have to show up here or be here at this time or whatever. I can make my own schedule. So it's kind of like being a stay-at-home dad in a sense where all of a sudden you told me that there's a group of satanic individuals who like to drink the blood of children. I'm like, wait, what? And you start doing some research and you're like, wait, okay, maybe he is onto something with all this.
Adrenochrome.
And it just spiraled and spiraled and spiraled. And the last couple of years, I mean, I've worked my ass off, but for how much time I've actually had to be able to dive into all this stuff and actually learn it and find it, it's incredible. So the amount of time that I spent doing that, and if I had children in that aspect, like how good of a father you truly could be at home in this day and age, actually. Like we have so much more than what people even had 100 years ago.
I agree.
That's
And
true.
I'm going to force you to give us look at that camera and tell them what you do because you make the best water. You have the best water systems. I'm telling you. I
He
swear
makes
by it.
water.
Yeah, just
All
give
right.
a shout out.
Company name is J Wade Services. Phone number is 920-310-1150. If you want clean water, give me a call. I'll walk you through it step by step by step. If you have city water, well water, whatever your problem with water is, I can at least guide you in the right direction, get you the right equipment, get you the right everything ultimately. So
He's very humble, and I appreciate you, but you're the best. You're awesome. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
But sorry, thank you for doing that because Doc believes in capitalism. Therefore, I'm
Yes.
going to promote you guys. So
Well, and here,
but real quick though,
yep.
it's the love of money that people have these days. You're talking about you wanted to make a salary within a week, then a month or something.
Yeah, more or less. I want to beat my girlfriend's salary that she makes in a year. I want to make it in a week.
That'd be awesome. It's like a thing, but the thing I'm just trying to get at is this love of money that we're always trying to strive of, oh, I want this, or, oh, guess what? I make more. Hey, I got a raise at work. I got this. And it's, well, who cares really at the end of the day? It's just paper. It's not backed by anything. It's backed by a government that screws us every which way, left and right. So who cares, like, how much we really make?
So
at
is it
end
the
of
gold
day?
standard then? Is that what we're trying to get?
We're going
No,
back to it.
if
The
paper.
rappers care, as you see. They're wearing it around their necks, and they're constantly talking about it in their songs. The rapper. Rick Ross cares.
There you go.
There you
You know,
go.
and here's the thing, though. I know what you're saying, and I get it. But money,
You have to play in their
solves
system.
a lot of problems when you have it. So there is that game.
And
So are you?
options.
No, here's. No, we're getting off topic, but who cares? That's what we do, right? So, the whole money thing is you want to get money. I want to get that money. I'm gonna work my butt off and try to get it. But it's not controlling me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be that Hillary Clinton, all these people starting a Clinton Foundation, making millions and millions of dollars and using it for their own benefits versus actually helping people. Like there's that type of love of money that's greed, that's evil. I get that, but money does solve a lot of problems. I'll tell you what. I watched Doc. He had so much invested into all these nurses and stuff, the people that were going through stuff in COVID, trying to fork money out to attorneys to help solve their problems. You know what I mean? So there is a need for money. Yes. Is it paper? Yeah. I think gold standard would be great, but that's a whole other conversation off of another conversation that's already a distraction. But my point is, there has to be that balance. There has to be a balance of money. Like, what are you
Money's
using
a good
it for?
thing.
Yes.
Money provides opportunity.
Yeah, and options.
I like
Yeah.
that.
So, Patrick, you got something to say over there? I can see it.
No,
No?
no.
You're so quiet over
You
there.
can uncork it.
So we can all agree
I
that
see the
money makes the world go.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about specifically, it's that love, it's that desire,
That
it's
greed.
that greed of it.
Yeah, okay.
That's the part I want to remove out of the system.
It's when
as
is
well.
enough enough.
Well, when
Because
is enough
basic-
enough?
Right, when is enough enough?
Well, when you've got your when you've got your house, you got your vehicles, you've got good groceries.
But why would you
everyone's
stop
doing
then?
good.
Right,
Why would you stop?
Right.
Why would you ever stop?
right.
You help your kids?
Yeah.
It's because it's a very simple thing that everyone has, but no one wants to admit it. It's greed.
Yeah.
Because if you have a house, guess what? Now I have to have a cottage. Hey, guess what? We got that cottage. Let's get a summer house in Florida.
Why not?
Well, yeah,
greed.
and why not? But why is that? Why is having a cottage bad?
Because here's the other thing too. You guys talk. We're talking about society where it was 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, it wasn't driven on money. It was driven on family time, and I think that's where you were making that point. The more time you have with your kids, the more time, the family sitting down and having a family meal. Well, guess what? Unless you're that rapper, unless you're that professional athlete, the ability to have that house, that cottage, that southern home, multiple vehicles, you got it. It's very, very minimal. So what does a person have to do? You trade time for finance, right? Now, what are you doing when you're trading time for finance? You're taking time away from your family, taking time away from your kids. And this all wraps into, why is my kid a Karen? Well, because dad's working 20 hours a day. He's never at home. He's never home to teach me. Why is my kid getting his ass kicked on the, playground? Well, because dad's not home to teach you, hey, put your fucking dukes up. Don't just stand there and take it, The problem with society is that greed controls everything. It controls the family. It controls the mindset. If you have enough to, say, hey, we're doing really, really good. Family's healthy. We've got, a healthy account. We've got good groceries. We've got, reliable vehicles.
How about not just the
whatever else.
groceries? Let's have our gardens. Let's actually start
Exactly.
growing our own food. Why are we going to some store?
I will tell you
buying
this
from
much right
whoever
now.
the
I
fuck?
will tell you this much right now.
Well,
crazy.
even that concept, it's going to require some money.
Some
right?
money.
It's going to require some money to get
And
that
I just,
garden
I don't know
going.
why people would ever want to stop though. Why wouldn't you ever want to keep building and building and building?
Right.
And even if you have multiple cars,
Yeah.
you're pumping money out into the
True,
economy when
true.
you're doing that.
Yeah,
Right.
I get that. But by creating more opportunity, creating more income, you're also losing time with family.
And that's something that's a choice I think everyone has to make.
That's
What
just
would
something
you
that
rather have, time or finance?
Well, time is the greatest currency of all time.
There's very few people that can say that I'm sitting here making $500,000 a year and I ain't working shit hours. I ain't working more than 20 hours a week. So for the average person, you trade time for money, which comes down to what do you want, when is enough, and when is family the most important part of being a dad, being a mom.
Well, and that probably just comes down to like how you parent and stuff too, because I mean, arguably we've talked about this a lot of times too. Like dads shouldn't be home at 5 o'clock every night. Dads shouldn't be home every night, maybe in general, because they should be out working and building and providing for their family. And that's just something that kids can understand, maybe through the help of the mom. I mean, my dad wasn't really home during the week. I knew without a doubt my dad loved me very, very, very much, even though I only saw him a couple days out of the week. And so you can still build your family even if you are putting a lot of time into your mission, right? Because the core of the masculine is his mission. And it's being competitive and aggressive and being really ambitious. That's his core. And the core of the feminine is its intuition and its radiance, and it's nurturing and it's compassionate, and the masculine and the feminine are these complementary opposites that are supposed to go together. So the woman is a little bit more about the family, but we got to recognize that the masculine, his number one is his mission, and that comes before his woman and his family does, because it's his job to go out there and provide and to build. And I guarantee you, because Doc has told this story, I guarantee you, if you go ask kids like, hey, kids, like, I got to go travel for a while, but if I do that, we're going to be able to go to Hawaii for 3 weeks every year. What do you want me to do? Kids are going to be like, yeah, I want to go to Hawaii for 3 weeks every year.
You know, I think
well,
part
that's
of
like
it,
putting a
Role
video
example.
game out in front of a kid saying, hey, you want to play it? Well, of course they're going to say yeah.
Well, I think here's
You
the
know.
thing. So I think let's take this a step even further. Let's go down the rabbit hole. That's what we do. I have a son. He's at the best age right now. It's phenomenal. I love him. He's 13. So he's starting to learn how to use his body, catch, throw, shoot the ball, all the things. So what I used to do is I would spend every waking moment with him, because, you know, I only had half the time. And earlier in his life, I had less than that. I had to fight for that every last drop. So I used to spend all the time with him. I got nowhere. I lived paycheck to paycheck, and I was a good dad. But now it's weird. I spend more time working, okay, and I choose how I spend my time with him different. Now, my time with my son's gonna be different than your daughter's, okay? But what do you think he likes more? Watching a 3.5-hour movie of Lord of the Rings with me, or playing 30 minutes of catch with me out in the front yard?
Oh, 30 minutes, 100%.
So it's about maximizing your time with what you have to work with, because you know what? You know, Bidenomics is making things way worse. And it's funny, my salary is way better than it was when I was sitting at home all day long, spending every waking moment with my son. Not only am I just spending it with him, I'm neglecting her, Haley, you know, the dogs, the house, because I'm feeling this guilt of spending time. So you have to find that balance. I'm not saying that's what you're trying to get at. I'm just saying, well, I think we need to define this as quality time, not invest all your every waking minute of your day with your kids. Because at the end of the day, your kids are going to move out and get married, you know, if all goes well, you know, and don't get vaccinated. And but
agree.
they're all
Put that
gonna move
in
out.
there.
They're all gonna move out. But when they move out, all you have is your spouse, right, and your time. And if you're 55 years old, whatever, and they're all moved out, and you got 5 years to find a way to retire. Now you're in a shit show. Now you're scratching your head from a different perspective, going, "Oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Like, did I spend too much time? Did I utilize my time right?" So you have to find that balance of what works for you and your family, because everyone's situation is different. Some don't have kids, some have 4. You know, some Patricks have hair, some don't. We're all different. You know what I mean? But we all have different careers, and you have to find out a way to maximize your time with your kids, and also hold yourself accountable when you're not.
Yeah. I think kids in a family, though, they would much rather spend less time with dad and know that dad is out and on mission than spend a lot of time with dad and know that his mission lacks clarity. Because your family can feel that if your mission lacks clarity, because you're going to be weak and your foundation will ultimately be weak, and they'll be able to sense that in you.
And just real quick, how about just these devices again?
Yes.
You know, Johnny, just play with this. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with you or whatever. Like, how many times I've heard that, and it's just that didn't happen in the 60s or 100 years ago or anything. It's made parents lazier.
Yeah.
And now you hear
it was
the
at least go
statistics
read a
that-
book or something back when I was a kid.
Climb a tree.
Or yeah.
you know, that
Get in
now,
a fight.
Yeah, right?
These tech companies, they have, by the age of 10, 72 million impressions just by kids using cell phones on them, data and everything. Like, they know exactly how to market to that child before they're even 18. Like, it's insane.
I know.
It's horrible.
Well, and back to what you're saying about the phones is, the traditional family is being attacked through you know, the zero tolerance. You can't fight at school. You can't name call. You can't do this. Everyone needs to be equal. And oh, by the way, there's brand new phones out. You got to get them. All of the kids talk, and you have to keep up with the Joneses. And it's all about the greed of I want this, and I have to have the newest thing, and I have to have that, and blah blah blah. And then the parents want to be the cool parents. They want to be friends with the kids, not actual parents. And so therefore they get the kids all of the cool new things, and then the parents want to be, you know, go get the job. So then you end up with the parents who the mom stays home, the dad is always working, always gone, not there for the kids. And then it turns into, well, I want to be able to get all of these things. So then I'm going to grow up the same way. And then it just slowly indoctrination of splitting up the entire family, drawing in the greed of I have to have the new phone, I have to have the new clothes, and oh my gosh, how many necklaces do I have on, and do you know this artist, and did you see that new YouTube video, and did you see the new show, and blah blah blah, blah. Distract
Taylor Swift,
right? All of these things.
I mean,
everywhere
that's
else.
essentially what they're trying to do to a new audience of men. They're trying to introduce them to this artist, Taylor Swift. I've never before has my father, a 67-year-old black man, ever said anything about Taylor Swift.
But now.
But at Thanksgiving, he said, "Hey, man, who the hell is this goddamn Taylor Swift?" I said, what's his name? What's his name? He said, Taylor, who's dating Travis' boy, the boy Travis. I said, okay, so you don't got nobody's name, but that's close with Taylor Swift. That's real close, because this is a man who he'll get your name wrong. You'll be like, I'm Dana. He'll be like, all right, Danielle, so look, here's what you need to do. Go on outside and grab one of the rakes and help Larry rake the roof. That's what he'll tell you. You'll be like, I'm Travis. He'll be like, well, Trent, listen. So instantly, he don't know your name, but Taylor Swift. Never in life has anyone ever cared about Taylor Swift as much as people care about Taylor Swift today. And I really think they're trying to, I believe Taylor Swift was supposed to perform at the Super Bowl this year, and she's not. And I think they have her slated for 2025. And all this is just PR for the concert that she's on, her tour, but as well as setting it up for this probably whatever show they're going to have in 2025.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Funny?
Sponsored by Pepsi and Pfizer.
Pfizer.
Well, here's a funny thing. You know, you
Well,
mentioned
he is
something.
Mr. Pfizer. So.
Anybody here watch The Office?
Yeah.
You know, I guess we're so infatuated with these superstars' lives. You know, and I remember Jim coming back, and he's talking to Kelly. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Oh my God, did you hear about Brad and Angelina or whatever? Brangelina, blah blah blah. No, I asked how you're doing. I just told you. And it's like, no, that's we get infatuated with the people that don't even matter. The Taylor Swifts.
Right, the Taylor Swift.
So I think it goes back to what you said and a combination of what you said, where you really have to take a step back. You said that earlier, taking a step back and looking at assessing your life. Are you happy with it? Are you going in the right direction? Have you made enough now to where you don't have to work as much, but you've made investments to where you're going to continue to bring in money, but now you can spend more time with your family as you're older? Being smarter when you're younger, when you have the energy and the time, and you can sleep less and still function, is important. And then when you get older, then you can do those, take a step back, but be smart with your money, invest, and have it come later on. I think that's all important, having that balance and making the best decisions for each family.
But I think that's going to end soon.
Go ahead.
I think that's going to end soon, where the idea of money being the most important thing is going to end soon. I don't think that these future generations are going to be concerned with that.
Correct.
I'm sure that there will be some other form of currency, right? But I don't think that money is going to be the big. I don't even think people care about investing anymore. I think only people who it's becoming more of a, if you know what investing is, then you will invest. But it's becoming more of, I don't need to invest. The government will take, my investment is in the word of the government.
Yep.
So if the government says they'll take care of me, then I got my investment is in them.
Forever dependent.
You will own nothing and be happy.
Exactly.
And here's the
exactly.
thing. I think we
no.
need. You know what?
The
If we
World
all would
Economic
have,
Forum has it all figured out for us.
I think I could speak for me and Patrick. We didn't utilize our time in our 20s very well, and I guarantee you we wouldn't be scraping for money.
Dude, I spent way too much money at strip clubs.
Yeah.
You know, I
Chippendales.
disagree with that idea.
No, I'm not saying that.
And trust me, I don't like strip clubs.
No, I know.
I don't
just-
believe in putting any money into
No,
those.
you and
I was
bitches'
waiting
draws.
for you to
and
say
I
I
had-
disagree with that. No, that's
Yeah.
all.
You and I had VIP parking spots right next to each other. Come on now.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't.
Chippendales.
How would you have
tip roll
known?
numerous times? Come on.
How
bro.
would you have known that was a bad way to spend your money if you hadn't done it then? Right?
You
How
know
would
why?
have learned
You
that-
know why?
that
Because
lesson?
because it was social media, or not social media. It was media driven by MTV, making
Yeah.
it look like, oh my God,
Man.
all these
Jersey
rappers are
Shore.
going to the club
I
and they're
agree
just
with you.
and they're making all these women come over and all you gotta do is throw a couple of bucks.
I agree
Dude,
with
that
you.
was a lifestyle that
Well,
there's
it's-
not
it
one
was-
high school kid did not want to have.
I agree with you, but it's the same thing with okay, so I'm 40, I have no kids, I've never been married, and that's because of the same thing. Because I heard Jay-Z, a guy who's been married for fucking 11 years now, tell me about pimping and I know pimps, and he wasn't one of them. Then no one ever said, "Oh, Jay-Z, yeah, he's got a pimp card. We can look him up." There's a pimp database. I don't know if you all know that, but anyway, so there is
I
a
learned
pimp-
so many things
There
in
is
this.
a pimp database. There is. This is not a joke. There's a pimp database.
Do you have a feather in your hat?
See, now you playing games with pimps. Don't say that. So they'll get you. So,
Don't mess with the cartel.
but what I'm getting at is that because of hip hop music, a lot of young African American men, Hispanic men, even white men,
Yep.
we bought into this whole I gotta be a player, right? So I gotta have all the chicks. So even if I got a girlfriend, I need to have like a side piece, and not we weren't paying attention to Tupac was getting married. I mean, he was doing all that, but he had a
term
wife
was.
while he was in jail. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, he got a divorce,
R.I.P.,
but I
bro.
mean, I'm sorry, he was engaged. He wasn't married. But Biggie Smalls had a wife. I mean, so DMX had a wife until he died. So it's like here we are trying to be players, and these guys, because we hear these guys rapping about it, they have families, wives. We don't, and it's and I get that, but how would you have known? If you hadn't spent that money at the strip club, how would you have known that was a waste of you? Because now you might be spending it now, and you got 4 daughters now, right?
No,
You-
haven't been in a club in years.
see, but let's say that you hadn't learned that lesson. Like I remember I had got all this money, and I just blew all this money on Jordans and taking people out, and we was kicking it. But I always thought you'll get more money. That you'll get more money. You're a person. You'll find a way to get
Earn more
more
tomorrow,
money.
yeah.
You'll get
Yeah.
more money.
That is a
But
good mindset.
what did you learn from blowing all that money? That was my biggest thing. What did you learn from that? And I learned don't spend your money like that. Next time you get that kind of a
Don't be
large
a dumbass.
amount,
Yeah.
spend towards the future.
Yep.
So the next time I did get that amount, I spent towards things towards the future. Put it on bills so that I wouldn't have debt in the future and things of that nature. Built up my credit. But it's like I know people who get money and they make the same. A prime example, Fat Joe. Now they were talking about a rapper who has had tons of money, been rapping for 30-something years. This man has said 3 times he was a millionaire and went broke. Like not I'm broke, like I'm Donald Trump broke
Dead
or I'm 50
broke.
Cent broke. Because that going bankrupt, we always know doesn't
Yeah,
mean
right.
broke.
Doesn't mean
Yeah.
nothing.
Right?
It's just
No,
on
this
paper.
man is literally like, I go to the bank and they're like, you don't have enough money to pay the bills that you have. Like, this is ridiculous. But you're a rapper. You're going on tour. So he says he does, every time he's had a hit song, this is from his own mouth. Every time he's had a hit song, whether it's Lean Back, What's Love, or whatever the hell he had before that, he had to do those songs because he had to make money back. So the last time he did it was Lean Back, and if you all know anything about Fat Joe, his ass went to jail right after that. The IRS. Because you're not paying your taxes now. So now you and so he said,
took it all because he needed it.
right, and so he said he did the whole Lean Back song, and then he went and popped bottles in the club. Well, he probably should have paid the taxes on it. I can tell you who's never had that problem. Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago, got $8 million in campaign donations, paid his 2.7 to the government of Illinois. Rahm Emanuel is now the ambassador to Japan. There you go.
So Fat Joe and Wesley Snipes, we can learn from them.
And
Right.
Ron Isley and Lauryn Hill.
There you go. Lauren Hill too.
Yeah.
She's got a good voice. All right. Well, let's wrap up and do the last question here, or last statement, and then we'll be done for the night. So anybody have to go potty? I'm kidding. All right. So this is an interesting one. I can never. Oh, we just did that one. Sorry. The people in shape are easier to trust than people who are fat. People in shape are easier to trust than people who are fat. I do not know where that one came from, but I remember on the list. And
What? What do you mean you don't know where it came? We were together. When
I know, but
Okay.
but you claimed that I had the last one, and that wasn't me. And this one is not me
We
either.
very clearly discussed what the statements were going to be per day, and you were very aware that you were hosting, and I remember the look on your face, like, yeah, I'll do that one. And I'm like, okay, then.
Moving on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back in time. And
I
I'm
disagree.
gonna prove that because time's
So
not real. So
people in shape are easier to trust than people who are fat.
You
Let's
literally
go with
helped
Patrick
come up
first.
with the wording on this one.
I'm going to disagree.
Agree.
I agree.
Disagree.
There we go, bro.
So many thoughts.
That's how you know he really doesn't actually tell her ahead of time. Unless she's a really good
Agree.
actor. I don't know.
Disagree.
Yeah. Oh, these were good ones
Well-
tonight. All right. All right.
Let's start with Zach, and we'll go this way, and then we'll finish.
All right. But do you have time to write down your notes?
No, I'm
Have
good.
you, okay. I'm just checking.
So I did my Dignify last night. And this has a point. I did my Dignify
tell
last
everybody
night.
what Dignify is.
So Dignify is a. That's a good question. I don't even know how to describe it.
Oh,
Basically,
kinda like
it's like your priorities in life and like how
It describes who you are too, like your personality, what drives you, what's your strengths, your weaknesses. But go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
You weren't sure, so.
I appreciate the explanation because I know how to explain it. But one of the things that came up on it, and when you're going through, it gives you like a list of things to say. And one of the things is like your do's and your don'ts. And one of my don'ts was, and I put it very highly, is don't tell me you can't change. And so people that are fat, there is a reason they're that way. Don't tell me that they can't get in shape. Now, I think that has trends towards what was the question? Like, can you trust?
Yeah, say it
Can
again.
People in shape are easier to trust than people who are fat.
I think that you can get in shape, and people that are in shape had to do it. There is no easy way to get in shape. You have to put the effort in. And so if you put the effort in with that, with your own self, doing it behind closed doors, because people don't really watch you do it, except the exceptions, but we're not talking about those, that you had to go through what you went through to get in shape. And I think if you have experience and you have the knowledge and you have the background on how to do it, you're a lot easier to trust as a source of knowledge and a source of information than someone that has only heard about it or someone that hasn't done it themselves. They've just only anecdotally have evidence that it works or something.
Thank you, Patrick.
I would have to disagree on that, mainly because you take a look at, and coming from the medical side, as a lot of you guys are a part of, sometimes there's a abnormality, I guess you could say, or there's a medical issue that a person does gain weight that they're not able to lose weight.
Is that the exception?
Get tested. You can fix that.
Okay.
But in general, you're right.
I know what you're saying,
So,
but,
yeah.
but let's
Yeah,
just
yeah, that's
so,
true.
okay,
but
so-
we can come back to the exceptions. But go ahead.
So let's just say this, all right? Trust is not it's not determined by a body shape. It is determined by upbringing, the heart, and the faith of the person. Whether you're 150 pounds and you're ripped like a young stud, hey, great, congratulations. Or you're 400 pounds and you're the most amazing person that just wants to help anyone and everyone. Selflessness does not come with a body type. Very, very simple.
Cool.
I disagreed because prior to doing water filtration, everything, I did vacuum cleaner sales. And we pulled a shitload of samples. I mean, these presentations, we put on a show for people, and it was the showmanship of everything that we did and everything. And this guy I worked with, Scott Fritz, rest his soul, he was killed by the doctors in Des Moines, Iowa during the whole COVID bout and everything. And he was the fat guy that they were after and targeting and everything with it. But that man was the hell of a salesman. It was incredible where, like, we would bring machines and we would show people, we do all this stuff right in front of them. It was the wow factor of everything. He would leave the machines in the car and they would be sold. And you watch the guy do it once and you're just like, what did you do? Like, you told him to go sit over there in the other room and they both bought it. Like, I was at a loss, complete loss. And he was of the 400-pound variation of everything. Like, the level of trust that you have to have with someone to make a $3,000 decision in an hour and a half, you have to have something there. And he was able to do it, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
I said that I agree because of the fact that how do I say it? This is why I said I have so many thoughts because obesity is very large right now.
Pun intended.
Pun intended.
Okay.
However, if you were to go to the doctor and you'd be on a scale and they do the BMI and all the things, according to standards, majority of people are overweight. And that's become the new norm. That's just how it is. The food we have or whatever, sit-down jobs, there's always excuses. So to say someone's fat, I would envision them to be physically very, very large, out of shape, health is bad. I'm envisioning someone, if you say they're fat, that their life is not in a good quality. They don't look well, their mental health is bad, their family situation is usually not good. So I'm looking at an individual who's very unhealthy in a lot of different aspects. So not just this clinically or medically determined fat person or obese person, because those statistics are just complete garbage in my opinion. Literally, I don't even know, was it like 4 years ago, I would have been considered obese because because of my height, and the BMI said that I was borderline obese.
And you got that fat ass.
Because I had a fat ass. And
Never.
So that's what I envision. And so if that's what I'm comparing or looking at in the person that I'm going to be trusting, and I look at trust as something that respect is always given. That's period. That's my opinion. I believe that you should be respectful of people, period. Like when you want your meat, you should be able to get your meat respectfully. Please, thank you. There you go. That's just done. The way that it should be. Trust, I look at it as if I'm going to be I trust somebody, that means that I trust that I can rely on them no matter what, whenever, or I can say whatever I need to say to them and they're never going to repeat it. It's a deeper thing for me. And so I can't say that I can trust somebody who is obese because or someone who's fat, that's the word, right? Fat. Because I can't trust their mental state to help me when I'm struggling. I can't trust that they're physically going to be able to get there because they're, who knows what they have going on that day. Let's be honest, most people who are fat in the way that I'm envisioning, they've got migraines, they're nauseous, they can't eat, they can't hold down food, they're in the bathroom, their lifestyle is very unhappy.
Painful.
So I can't trust somebody to be there for me when I need them to be there for me. Sound mind, physically being able to be there, all of those things, because they just can't do it.
I disagree because I am not going to trust a fat person or a overweight person with health stuff. I'm not even looking at them for that. But if I want to know what the best chicken,
Damn right, you trust them.
the best chocolate treats,
Damn right.
what? The best sofa to sit on after a good snack, the best cushions for my butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep that plastic on.
All right, I'm hollering at my big homie. I'm hollering at him. I'm gonna ask him, what's that cushion you got underneath there? What's them shoes you wearing? They look soft. What you got on? I know some Brooks. Okay, I'm gonna go get me some Brooks too. So I'm not gonna trust them with my health. No, we probably are not even thinking the same things health-wise. We're not even on the same page. I'm eating salads and they are like, yeah, I got a salad dressing salad with a little bit of lettuce in there. So okay, I
get
got
those
you.
too. I love those.
Right, they got soup with lettuce in it. It's a ranch soup with some lettuce in there. It's in
Yup.
there.
Ranch
Let
bisque.
us out of there.
Right?
Give me
But
some
I'm not
crackers.
gonna trust them with
That's
my.
just to help him poop later.
Yeah, I'm there to help them poop later. But they probably got something for that too.
I'm sure they do.
Once
Plunger?
again, the most sturdy toilet seat. I'm gonna
Or a
ask
bidet? A bidet that works?
What's the best? What's the most sturdiest bidet? What's the best bed? What's the best mattress for a body? What should I have? I'm gonna ask them those kind of questions, but I'm not gonna ask them, man, how you eating? What's your health like? What's your heart? What's your workout like? Because I know they work out. The workout is simple. It's
Yep.
very simple. We are doing
Bicep curl.
Yep.
one motion.
Or
One
order online.
Yeah, we are getting it. Well, you still got to do this. So that's another thing.
Yes.
So, but I'm not going to. So, yes, it depends on what I'm trusting them with.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to trust them with, I'm not going to have trust in them about health information. But, if it's some good snacks, the best porn sites, I probably will, holla.
So fatties, no porn? Okay, all right.
Well, I mean,
Noted.
they
Fried
not-
chicken and Pornhub.
I'm assuming that they're not getting much action, right? The big people.
Well, you
what?
never
They
know.
might be. They
you
might be.
never know.
That's a
Never
fetish
know.
now. That's
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
it
I had a
is.
guy I used to work
That's
with.
a thing.
Oh, he actually was sought out because he's a big boy, like big.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy was in shape, jacked, gay, and wanted him to be his fatty. And he goes, what is a fatty? He goes, I feed you, I do everything for you, down to the wiping.
Well, you know
Why did
what?
he say he wanted him to be so fat that he was so dependent on him, right?
He had to be dependent.
Well,
He
you know
couldn't
what?
physically do anything without his help.
You know what's interesting is the National Association
Real.
for Fat
happened.
Acceptance? Is it NAAFA? I believe that organization started because there was a skinny white man who had a fat fetish. And he wanted to enable as many fat women as he could. And so he created this organization. It was originally just for fat women. And it was to enable them to be fat so that he could have his own harem of big girls. And then they started adding black ones, and he was like, "Oh, nah, this is unacceptable right here.
Way too many coming through.
We got to get black men up in here so they can take those away." 'Cause I was only looking at white women, and that's what they did. They brought in some black men to be a part of the membership, and he was like, "All right, now you can have the darkies, and you go and you get them. I'm gonna stick with all the fat white girls because that's what this was all about." And he would. So there's a group of large people. They are called. It's people who feed them so that they can get bigger or something. I forget what this group is called.
Feederism?
What is it?
Feederism?
I think it is feederism. And so he was promoting this. He was promoting this a lot, and so it was making people unhealthy. Now the NAAFA is a Marxist organization, but
Aren't they all?
well, yeah.
They're fattest, not fascist, but fattest. and that is how Rome fell.
Outstanding.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
thank you for sharing, brother.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So say it again. I agreed with this, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So-
I agreed with this, I think.
People in shape are easier to trust than people who are fat.
Yeah, okay, I agreed with that. So what I have to say about this is pretty general, and I think at the end, if I actually remember, I might go into a little bit of an exception because I also think it's a rule, and I'll try to make this all tie together. But so I think that if you're fat or if you're not in shape, you're not only a liability to your family, you're a liability to humanity in general. And I think we need to realize, I'm going to go on a little more serious of a note here. We need to realize that everything's always about control, right? Mm-hmm. They want us to be fat and sick and broke. And so we need to all work to be healthy and wealthy and intelligent, because that's the way that we're not controllable, and that's the only way that we're truly autonomous and not dependent on anyone else. And the state of your body is a direct reflection of the state of your mind. So if the state of your body is crap, the state of your mind is also going to be crap. That's how this works. So we all need to work to get to be fit and to get to be in shape. And I think we all know that when someone who's in shape walks in the room, there is automatic respect for them, and there is some automatic trust for them. That happens. And when someone walks in the room and they're, you know, morbidly obese, or they're fat, or they're out of shape, or whatever it is, respect is just inherently lost. And I think a lot of the time we are subconsciously doing this. I think a lot of humans don't really realize that they are judging people that way, but this is the reality of what happens. It's not changing anytime soon, and we need to understand that, and we need to understand the importance of that appearance and what you're putting out there and how that's being perceived by others. And since I'm a woman, I do want to just take like one hot second to talk about the whole dad bods thing, because we haven't talked about that ever on the podcast before. Dad bods are not hot, and any woman who tells you that is lying, okay? And the only reason...
Or maybe they're part of that group.
Oh, yeah, maybe that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they're part of that group. And the only reason women would ever say that they like dad bods is probably because she's already fat, so she doesn't want him to get in shape, because now she's going to be secure. Women don't think that men need to be this perfectly chiseled little statue or anything like that, but being in shape and being fit is a good thing, because we need to be carried out of burning buildings if they start on fire, and all women really like that. And
Or when we fall asleep.
What?
Or when we fall asleep.
Yes, then too. Yes. And we like his, you need to be able to pick us up and throw
in
us.
your hand, causing the burning building happening to be carried out.
Just
Keep going.
And I'll kind of like end my like generalization pieces here by saying, I mean, doesn't everybody just want to look good? Doesn't everybody want to be noticed for the work that they've been putting in? Don't you want to notice other people for the work that they've been putting in? I'm pretty sure that every man out there wants to be able to look at a woman and be like, "Oh, she has a nice ass." And I'm pretty sure that every woman out there wants to be able to look at a man and be like, "Oh, he has a nice ass." And I'm pretty sure that all men just want to be able to look at other men in general and be like, "Oh, he has a nice ass." And I'm sure that all women want to be able to look at other women and be like, "Oh, she has a nice ass," because we all like to look at pretty things. And the moral of the story is everybody wants everybody to have a nice ass. You can only have a nice ass if you're actually putting in the work, and if you're putting in the work, you happen to be more trustworthy. That's my generalization here, and I want to talk about kind of an exception like a little bit. I know we don't go into the exceptions a whole lot, but I think the overall general rule is that the people who are in shape are easier to trust than the people who are fat. And I think that's the overarching rule. But I think there is a rule that acts as an exception to this rule. And I think that rule is, man, guys, like once you get to a certain state and you've proved yourself and you have a track record or you have a certain amount of success, no one cares. Nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares what Trump looks like. Nobody cares that Doc hasn't always been in shape his entire life. He's been working hardcore at that for the last like 6 months or so, but he hasn't always been in shape, and I'm pretty sure none of his business partners ever cared about that. Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, I mean, he's not like fat, but he's definitely not the most in shape, shark. Kevin James, everybody loves him, but he's not exactly in shape.
I do not like Kevin James.
Okay, sorry, the exception of you.
He is
a
always
lot
putting
of people
food in his mouth on King of Queens, and it is annoying.
Well, that's why he's fat. So, like, there's that.
I also don't like Ted Danson for the same reason on Cheers.
What about Brad Pitt? He always puts food in his mouth. They did that on purpose because of his cheekbones. Okay,
I don't know.
well, but Brad Pitt's not fat. Or whatever. John Goodwin, I think, was, or Charles Barkley. People don't have problems with those. And I realize that I'm saying, like, famous people's names and people of extreme worth. And, I mean, I'm saying that so to make the point and to illustrate the point so that we all know what I'm talking about here. But arguably, we also all know people who are only worth a couple $1 million or who only have a $400,000 or $500,000 salary that we also would trust based on their track record. And my point there is I think there's also a rule that acts as an exception that once you get to a certain place, it doesn't matter anymore. No one cares what Oprah looks like.
But
I mean, they'll make fun of you. They'll make fun of you. They'll make fun of you, but they'll still like trust you when it comes to, business and things like that. They'll make fun of you.
So, thank you. That's good. So, the reason why I brought up this question, I was a little scratched. I looked at it. I thought I remembered being people in shape are easy to rely or are more reliable than people who are fat. So that's what threw me off. So whether that's my brain fart or not, that's up for interpretation. We can argue about that in our meeting on Thursday. But my point is this. So that threw me off when I read it because I obviously misread it or I had a thought all week on it. And it's not the right word because trust and reliable are two different things. And trust makes it more absolute. So that's why I probably would say disagree. But at the same time, trust. There's certain things that, you know what? I just can't trust a big guy or girl with. I just can't. I get it. I'm coming at it from a different perspective because a lot of people come to me and I'm blessed to have this. I love it. I love that people feel comfortable enough to me to ask how to get in shape. I love it. But I'm telling you right now, if I got a guy in shape who, if I got Zach here going, hey, Trev, how to work on my tries? I know he's going to do it. I just know he is. But if I see a guy who's 400 pounds, like, hey, teach me how to get in shape, I'm like, you got to teach yourself for a few months, and then come by me. Get in the treadmill, get off the sugars. And I'm serious. Like this, there's I can't treat them the same. Therefore, yeah, I do trust people who are in shape more to do what they're going to do. But that's just one angle of it. Is it the whole entire thing? I don't think it is. That's why I think I disagree. But overall, I do believe that people who are in shape are more trustworthy. They've shown work ethic. They've shown consistency. They've shown the ability to handle emotions. Because what's the first thing people do when they're stressed? Eat or drink or smoke away their emotions. They don't know how to handle it. So it's just a sign of weakness. We all have weaknesses. No one's perfect. Okay. But my point is there's self-control that we have to consider that helps you be more reliable, more consistent. And I'm definitely waffling on both sides right now. I totally know what I'm doing. But I'm trying to get you to understand why we had a fun little spat there. It's just I was looking at it from a reliable standpoint, and that's my bad. Being the host, I should know. But trust, it's a different thing. Therefore, I disagree because there are people that are in great shape that I trust. And there is boundaries.
Yeah, well, it's like trust with what?
Yeah, there is boundaries with that. I'm not going to ask them how to lose 20 pounds in a month or whatever. I'm not going to do I just can't. I can't do it. I need you to practice what you preach. I'm not going to go to a pimp and ask him how to become a one lady kind of guy. Well,
When he tells you what to do, just do the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And you'll be good.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
see?
you go.
You can trust him.
man, when I think of pimps, I think of Wayne Brady and the Dave Chappelle show.
Oh, no.
Hey, he goes, hose,
Oh, no.
hose, Dave, hose. What up, bitches? And Wayne Brady's like the nicest guy ever. Anyways, but no. So I guess this is a really good statement. I just can't agree with it entirely, and I can't tell you which one's the exception. I can't tell you which one's the rule. I think it's closer than it looks, and that's just my opinion in my brain. There's a lot of cobwebs up there, but here's the thing. I would consider myself to be in shape. I work hard every single day. I eat good, and there's things I'm not reliable with. I'm not the best with attention to detail.
That's why you married me.
Yeah. It doesn't help me in my job, right? So I gotta write everything down. All my ink's gone on my pen. There's things I'm weak with. Does it make me reliable? There's so many elements to this that we could talk about. I don't know which way to go. There's so much room for activities right now.
Let's just make it come full circle with everything that we talked about tonight, where who benefits from fat people? China.
Exactly.
If you want to take over America and you want to make us all slow and stupid and sugar and everything else, this is how you do it. You take the masculinity away from the masculine men, make them fat. Now your military sucks. And if you want to get taken over, that's what you do.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Exactly.
I just think that, look, there was a time in my life where I got fat, but I was also
Soy latte plus fied beta male.
and I changed that around. I turned that around. I got back on my feet, got remarried, restarted my life, and I worked at it. But I was fat. I was almost 70 pounds. So I was a big boy. You remember those days, right?
Yes, I do.
I agree. But I had, but here's the thing. Here's the other side of this thing. Sarah, was I the most reliable during my fatty stage? No or no?
Yeah, no.
Okay. So
I tried.
I'm looking at it from,
think.
this is a loaded statement. And it's, we can pick up all the rocks and look and see what we find. But, I wasn't reliable. I was unhealthy. I was depressed, and I was eating and drinking away my problems that I caused myself because of the life that I created. And, yeah. So it's really, I think it's fair to say that obesity is how do I say this? It's a marker that you got something in your mind or your heart you're not working on. You're not working on yourself. You're not dealing with your problems because you're obviously you're dealing with them just in an unhealthy way. You're eating your problems. You're drinking your problems away. Whatever
That's
it
just
is.
coping. That's not dealing with it though.
That's coping. True.
Yeah.
True.
Good word. I think that if you let yourself get to that stage, there's definitely an element of laziness involved. There's definitely some self baggage, and we talk about trust, and trust goes hand in hand with respect. And if you let yourself get to that stage, do you respect yourself?
Right.
And so if you can't look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I'm very comfortable with the way I feel, the way I look, the way I am, then you can't trust yourself. And if you can't trust yourself, why should anyone else trust you?
Yeah, and here's the thing, and if you and I are moving today, or tomorrow we're moving, I'm asking you to help me move. You, why? Because you guys are all. I know you can. You pick up heavy jugs all damn day long. Like this, you just come to my house. But like, you guys are in shape. I'm not gonna call and ask the 400-pound man because I'll probably have to wheelbarrow him out of my house. You know what I mean? To the hospital. He ain't gonna be able to handle it. I think of Fatty McGee from the Adam Sandler CD.
Oh no! Don't do it. Just stop.
Just climbing up a flight of stairs.
If you need someone to supervise, you may call him, right? Because then he'll be really good at delegating, telling people what to do.
Hey.
Go over there.
bring
Are you gonna
donuts.
eat that?
Move that over
And
there.
you know there'll be good donuts.
Well, there won't be any donuts.
Yeah, because they're gonna eat them all.
You guys would have loved these. Well, so it's a loaded statement, but it gives room for discussion. Anyone else want to add to that? Otherwise, we can start going to the final thoughts for everybody. Are fat people bad? No. I just think they're lazy.
Just to themselves.
I think.
Yeah.
Let's just scrape the surface here with the exceptions. Look, I get it. There's health issues. Come to the wellness way. There's people who are just bigger boned. I mean, they got wider hips. I mean, I get all that stuff. Not everyone's gonna look like you two.
Yeah.
I
Sorry,
disagree.
But
No
they're-
one's
but,
bones are bigger.
No,
No,
I
I've taken
that's-
a lot
no.
of X-rays. They are all the same.
They're all the
They're
same.
all the same.
Yep,
Hold on.
they're all the same.
I've seen some women that lost weight that were very big and they got small and their butt is still wide. It's flat. And my point is, we're not all built the same. We're all a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, she's 5 foot nothing. Well, you're 5'5", 6.
5.
Okay? I mean, we're all different. So people have disadvantages. It obviously.
Excuse me.
So
I disagree.
No, but that is largely you can't blame
Just
this
kidding.
on
It's vertically
genes.
challenged.
This is lifestyle.
Just
Lifestyle is what's wrong. You can't blame you're being fat on genes.
I'm just saying
Well, I mean, she could've
this is
grew.
why I said exceptions.
Stop. Cut the shit. She could have grew. All she needed to do was stretch more and drink more milk when she was younger. She could have
No,
grew.
milk
She's got a
would've
dairy
stunted your
allergy.
growth.
How dare you?
Well, you
Milk
know
would have
what?
stunted you. Milk
know
is
what?
awful for you.
She
Milk
could have
is
grew.
horrible. Right.
That's what I'm getting to.
100%.
She could have grew.
Yes.
Stretch herself.
She chose not to.
Yeah, that's right. She chose not to grow.
I listen to my parents.
That's a sign of laziness.
I took the easy button.
So yeah, I was just look. It's a touchy subject, so just making sure I understand that it's just not that black and white. There is some gray in there, and that's okay. But all right, moving on. Unless you want something to say.
Yeah, how about just the Halloween aspect? Like, when did this whole, let's give kids candy, go door to door and get candy from everybody and do the sugar thing? Like, I don't think we had Halloween like this 100 years ago and dressing up and everything, right? Like, when did that really,
Yeah.
No.
And you know what's
on.
funny, Joe, is that we have flu season right around that time. Maybe it's all the sugar we're eating, lowering our immune systems.
Yeah, that
No,
could never
That's
be.
just a coinky-dink.
That's
Yeah.
a conspiracy theory. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
right?
You're
You
right wing
you
nut
guys are
job.
spreading a lot of conspiracies today.
You have facts to back this up. Political's going to be
that
all
has
over
nothing
this.
to do with what you started with, right?
I would never spread conspiracies.
Ever. Even if there's a fire. Step brothers. All right. Final thoughts. This is fun, guys. Let's go with Joe. We'll have our 4 amazing guests go first. How about that? And then us hosts, we will conclude.
All right, final thoughts. I wanted to share this with you guys because it's one of my favorite things because I found this. Everyone can see this. I took this picture on Inauguration Day of Joe Biden. This is the United States Capitol. Fox, one of the very last times I watched Fox News. They came back from commercial, and they panned the Capitol, and this is what I saw that day. It's the Capitol dressed up like a bird. It's a pixelated bird if you kind of look at it.
Yep,
Let me
I can see
put
it.
the brightness up here. You can see it here.
I've seen that before.
I know I've shared it with you guys for sure.
I see it.
Yeah. So I was like, holy crap, that's a bird. That's like right on TV there and everything. So let me get one more picture up now for you real quick.
I see it. Okay. I didn't show it to you.
He showed me.
I've compared this picture to this bird in Cesar
Nazi
Chavez's
Germany.
communist paintings and everything. And why this has all come full circle, like when Biden announced his campaign manager for 2024, I think in like May or June of this year, it's none other than Cesar Chavez's granddaughter. So you can't tell me that Cesar Chavez painted that bird and then his granddaughter is going to be his campaign manager. Coincidence?
Totally,
I think
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Well, you know who was the managing and was behind his campaign when he ran in 2016 or 2020?
20?
Yeah.
HRC, Human Rights Campaign. That's why you have so much transmission things going on. I'll say that.
Evergreen.
Yes.
It's more than most.
There you go.
Yep.
Thank you, Joe. And Joe, we'd love to have you back. That's awesome.
Yep.
Thank you for coming here today.
Thank you.
Wifey, you have no choice. Speak.
Wait, is that the Iron Man or the Iron Woman joke?
Oh, I got a good joke. All right. Here's a joke, and then we'll go to Sarah. All right. What's the difference between Iron Man and Iron Woman? Iron Man is a superhero. Iron Woman is a command. Thank you, Dr. Patrick. Continue.
Again, how do I follow that?
Got him.
Okay, final thoughts. Oh my gosh, so many things. We need this. We need to get back to this. It needs to be having family conversations between as you're newly engaged. Conversations of your foundation need to be happening when you are younger. Therefore, we need to allow the kids to deal with the things on the playground, in school. We've got to get back to that. And then we need to make sure that whomever wants to stay home, whatever that looks like, I mean, let's be honest, I believe in the traditional family of the man works, the woman is more of the at home or involved in the kids and the at home things. But the world we live in today makes that utterly impossible, and that is on purpose. And therefore, if a man has to stay home versus a woman because she has the ability to, thinking of the wellness way, obviously hormones and all the things, if she's fully supported, she should be able to maintain that, and he could stay home. Again, I can't be friends with that guy because the world we live in is corrupted, and there's too many marriages that are falling apart to where that can lead to negative things, to then leads to the children being disrupted, and then all that goes back to the kids. Our kids are being sought after, period, on all of the things. The greed that you brought up, Patrick, the foods that we eat, we can't have conflict resolution the way that they're supposed to. It's all about we're all supposed to be equal. It's all supposed to be fair, blah, 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 blah. All of the agendas. We all need to be starting to sit down and have conversations. And when people say, well, everyone's allowed to have their opinions, that's great, but look at the world. I don't agree in the fact that if your opinion goes against the traditions of how America was created, you should not be the one that is the majority and everyone else is the cowardly silent because no one wants to piss anybody off anymore. They don't want to have bad blood in the family and, oh, now the holidays are going to be awkward and, oh, we can't go to that house. I love my family dearly, but I drew a line in the sand and I stopped the generational bullcrap in my family, and I will not allow it to happen. So I don't talk to my family. I drew lines and they said they won't respect it and they don't agree with it, and so they walked away. I miss them. I love them and I pray for them. However, I am stronger. I am better. Our marriage is better. Our kids are better because we drew a line. And I said no. I had the hard conversations and nobody wants to do that anymore. And so I think there should be a call from the school. If there's a situation, there should be face-to-face conversations, get off of social media. I think kids should have their phones taken away. They should have never gotten them in the first place. Too much corruption is easily accessible because parents don't want to be active. The government pays for everything. People are becoming lazy to where now everyone's obese, or they have a health reason, or I have a diagnosis that justifies my reasoning to not be fit, or this, that, whatever. There's a lot of excuses, a lot of greed, a lot of people don't want to piss anybody off, so no one wants to have conversations, and this is why we're in the world that we're in.
You know, when we had to move your dad from the house, did we do that through talking?
We tried.
And then what happened?
And then it turned into escalation of words.
And what solved the problem?
You to physically say, we're done, I love you, and you need to leave. And you physically pushed him out the house.
Weird. So cool. Fighting in the parking lot. Or, sorry, school grounds. Sorry. But sometimes it works. I'm not cool. It just had to be done, and I had the balls to do it. I didn't talk about it or give him a therapy puppy and let him hear about his problems. Thank you for sharing, honey.
Yes.
I'll make you a sandwich when I get home.
What a guy.
Yes.
I think we touched on a lot of points tonight. One of the things I wanted to bring up earlier, but I forgot to, was the convenience factor. And I think the convenience factor has led to the degeneration of our society because it's convenient not to have to engage in conflict. It's convenient to eat the shitty food. You know, we're overfed, we're malnourished at the same time. It's just out of convenience. It's convenient to be this lazy person, and Ronald Reagan said it, you know, the 9 scariest words are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And it's just leading to a society that's super dependent on people, whoever that authoritative figure may be, to help solve their problems, and whoever they're looking to, even though the authority is the problem in most cases. And I think it stems from, you know, I come at it from the chiropractic point of view of, we just have shitty responses to situations because our guts are messed up, our hormones are messed up, our bodies are messed up, they're at their toxic overload point, and any side situation that we can't prepare for that might test our mettle is suddenly putting us into this, you know, negative emotional response because we don't know how to handle the stuff because we're already at our wits' end physically.
And before we go to Patrick, I just want to say thank you for coming on, because I know this is your last time, most likely, because you are gone in middle of December.
I am.
Unless we can squeak in one more time for shits and gigs, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well,
but my point is,
not
I want to
opposed,
thank you.
but-
Yeah, I want to thank you for being here. If you
I'll
are
reach
looking
at
for a
thewellnessway.com.
chiropractor in the Philly area, he's coming to you very soon, and he's very successful. I'm very proud of you. You worked
Thank you.
hard. You are a grinder. You practice what you preach. So, PA, look out. He's coming for you.
That's excellent. Well, first off, I just wanted to thank you for having me on. I know that when you had reached out, I think it was like 2-3 weeks ago or so, and you said,
before
hey,
they
this
jetted
is-
off to Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm like, what the shit is this? And then I'm like, all right, I'm kind of hooked on this whole podcast thing, so I'm gonna jump on, right? Not thinking that, they're gonna do it Hawaiian time. So I'm like, what the fuck? I missed it. Yeah, jackass. But anyways, I just want to thank you guys for having me on. It was awesome to watch you guys, and then periodically like I'll jump on and I'll look at the actual shorts and that kind of thing, and I'll be like, oh, all right, well, I can see where you're going with this and whatever. But anyways, so thank you for that. Yeah. Just to recap, the biggest thing, we've all talked about it, but one thing I like to add is just that we need to get rid of this participation award in life.
Preach it.
Amen.
This whole thing of, well, just because you showed up that you are guaranteed something in life. By giving a kid a participation award, all you're doing is saying you're okay being adequate. What is the incentive? What is the incentive for that kid? Well, if that's the case, then a participation award should be given to every kid in school and moved on to the next grade. Everyone should be getting A's. We should all be fucking valedictorians.
Correct.
Right? Because you know what? You
If that
showed
was the
up.
case, I would have been.
Dude, you were the furthest thing from it. I think you were like, what, 1.8?
Dude, I was in the 2 points, man.
Oh,
that was,
that's
I was average. I was the participation trophy.
Dude, you're from the west side of Howard. I understand it. West side representing.
I was
But anyways.
Swamico, fool.
Oh, Swamico. Oh, you're from the dirty south.
Lake Leo,
dirty
what?
South. Dirty south of Green Bay. All right.
Barkhausen, baby.
So once we take away this participation award, and I've been asked numerous times, if you have kids that grow up in sports, and you've got 4 girls, and let's say they're out at soccer or whatever else, and they get their ribbon for participating, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take that ribbon away from your kid? And I said yes.
Yes.
Every fucking time.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna tell them, you know what? You may cry for having this taken away from you. But what is that going to do? It's going to create a fuel inside you to become better next time, so you can get that second place. You can get that first place. Because if there's no incentive in life, what is there? And especially when it comes to the playground, if you're getting your ass kicked, right, and you show up every other day, and the same bullies is whooping your ass, and you don't have that wolf, protecting you. Congratulations, there's your participation award. You've accepted it. But if you don't want that participation award, if you want second place, I'm hoping that you're going for first, because first is what's doing this to you. I'm sorry.
Well, that's why you're my oldest friend, one of my closest friends. And I'll tell you what, I would have you in a fight any day, because I know how you swing, and I know your parents, I know your upbringing, and so make sure you keep passing on to your girls, because we got a lot of bad wolves out there. You got to teach them to find sheepdogs.
Well, I tell you what, there's one thing I can tell you right now. My girls ain't backing down from boys or girls. They don't give a shit. The funny thing is, and this is my last thing, I have this thing where I call, "Where's Daddy's wolf pack?" And all the girls go, "Oh!" So what happens? My nephew comes over to the house, right? He's 6'5" as a sophomore, right? And Nick starts wrestling with Waylon, who's the oldest one, right? And I'm like, "Daddy's wolf pack," and I hear a howl, and because the one's only like a year and a half, all 3 are jumping on him, howling, attacking him, and I'm like, "Mother of God, what have I created?" But I tell you what. They all protect each other. Anytime, I could be anywhere, and I'll be like, "Where's Daddy's wolf pack?" Oh, in the car, out to dinner, wherever. It's awesome.
That is
Nice.
awesome, man. Well, thank you for being on. And
Appreciate it.
we'll have you again, too. All right, Lorenzo. Random things you need to know.
Yeah, that's a show. It's on YouTube. Someone
Is it?
hosted.
BitChute?
Yeah, I don't know, some guy, jerk. So yeah, I think that first of all, I can trust a fat person with certain things, food especially. If I want to know what the greasiest spots are, I'm trusting that fat person. Kids need to be able to settle disagreements the way kids do, whether that's on the playground or that is kicking each other's ass. And I mean, I fought my cousins in the basement all the time, so I don't remember a day that any of my aunts ever said, don't fight. They was always, okay, y'all fought, y'all boys, that's what y'all do. Now the girls, they may have got on them about fighting, like, y'all supposed to be sticking together, you're not supposed to fight, let the boys do that. But
I never got that.
I mean, kids should fight. Seriously, kids should fight. Everybody, I think that's how they settle agreements. They learn how to, get things figured out from that way. They should fight on the playground. I don't understand I was a school counselor, didn't get it then. And because they couldn't fight, I can say this. I remember I was a school counselor for junior high kids. These were underprivileged black kids. The town is Fort Heights, Illinois. You all can look it up. It is 98% impoverished, very poor. A young girl was getting picked on by these other girls who thought they were too cute to get touched. And she came to school with 2 razor blades in her mouth. And she said to me, "Those bitches think they cute. I'm going to make them all ugly." And her thing was that they were going to talk. Her plan was on the bus, when they get off and they start talking, doing what they do every day, talking shit, she was just going to do one of them and start slapping hoes. That was it. And, of course, she had the razor blades, so she was planning on slicing faces. And we are talking 12, 13-year-olds. And this is because they would not allow them to handle it the way that they just let them just fight. Just let them just deal with it off the bus. Just let them handle it. But now getting off the bus is now a school issue. Now the school has to be called. The school needs to be brought in. Then the police are brought in because now it's an issue in the community. This is too much. In my opinion, it's making the people that we have today who think that violence will solve everything. And if I can't be violent, now I have a mental issue. So, I mean, I just think that we need to allow that. And I figured out who the guy.
I knew it.
That's what that was.
The father of public relations is Edward Bernays. Done.
I was wondering what you wrote down. I'm like,
That's
I'm trying
who
to.
it
I'm
is.
like, what?
Edward
feel better?
Bernays.
Do you feel better knowing that?
Yes, man, because I couldn't get that name,
Yep,
and I knew
knew
I
it.
knew it. It's Edward Bernays. He is the nephew of Sigmund Freud. He is the reason we eat a breakfast. He's the reason we eat breakfast. We eat meat with our breakfast. He's the reason rich people have pianos in their homes. He is the reason that people bought Cadillacs. This man made, and you can go and look him up on YouTube. Swear, one of his final interviews, they asked him, why were you so successful as a person who could influence others? He said, because people are stupid, and when you guide them, they'll do whatever you tell them to do. They're dumb. And like the person interviewing him is like, how do you just say this so freely? He says, because I'm not lying. I'm not lying to you. The people are stupid. He said, why on earth would American people think that after years and years of eating eggs and bread for breakfast, why would you need to add meat to it? You ate meat at night. It's too heavy for you to eat in the daytime. He said, but I told Beach Nut needed to sell meat. So I told him, give it to these people in the daytime. And everybody said, oh, an American breakfast. Then they saw Calvin Coolidge eat it. Oh, well, Calvin Coolidge is eating it, so I'm going to have breakfast like Calvin Coolidge. That's the right thing to do. All right, well, so now we all are eating Jimmy Dean fucking sausage in the morning.
Part of this complete breakfast.
Right.
It wasn't complete before.
Well,
Now
it's
it's complete.
chemicals, hormones, and
Thank you to
preservatives.
Edward Bernays. He completed all of our breakfasts. So there you go.
I'm very in favor of meat, and we should actually be eating protein in the morning. So that's a very good thing.
Well, Edward, you can thank Edward Bernays. There you go.
I will thank
so
him.
thank Edward Bernays for that. But it all started with a company that now makes, I believe, baby products. Beach
Oh
Nut.
boy.
Beach Nut.
Yeah.
They were in charge of meat, and it was so much meat. And The Jungle had come out, the book about how the meat packing plants were so nasty, so people didn't
Yeah.
want to eat meat. And so here, Edward Bernays says, man, put that with that breakfast, and they'll eat that crap. And then there you go, eating crap every morning. So,
Okay, well, don't eat crap. Eat real meat for breakfast, guys.
but what I'm getting at is what I was saying earlier. Because of people like Edward Bernays, who had a vision of, I'm gonna profit off of this. These companies are hiring me to do. There was no such thing as public relations before him. So he comes and he says, well, now I've created a whole market for myself. I can hire people to do what I do for the rest of forever. Forever, we will have this control over media. And now we will determine what people eat, what they don't eat. Either way, I say all that to say it's just
What's cool, what's not cool.
what's cool, what's not cool. Exactly. Like when did obviously in the 50s, being the guy who's like more popular and not as educated became cool. But that wasn't the case in the black community. Because in the black community, everybody wanted to go to Dunbar High School, which made you educated, you were smart. But now it's all turned around. And so in the black community in the 70s, they got the blacks on board. Well, now it's cool to be the street guy. But being the street guy was not the thing in the African American community in the 1940s. That just was not.
They
what
wanted
you
more.
did.
Yeah.
Nobody was doing it. We wore suits. Almost everybody dressed up like that.
Yep.
I'm just saying, we're under the influences more than we're making our own decisions, and it's messing us up. But since you all are under the influence, can you influence your asses to go to RRP Show, at RRP Show, the @ symbol, RRP Show, type it in, and then you can go and watch Random Things You Need to Know, and you can catch all the episodes, and make sure that at the end of the week, you look at how these women don't need to have their asses out there driving. There needs to be a federal legislation done where all men drive women. Stop. Look, men. Listen. Forget these two for a moment. Listen. Listen. Men watching. Listen. You are killing yourselves by letting these women drive. You are hurting you. You are hurting you. There are children dying.
That's true.
There are children dying. If you care about the kids, get these women from behind these roads. Look, put them in the car. Put them on the passenger side. Put a wheel there. Fake pedals and tell them, you doing it, baby. You look at you style.
We were just talking about this.
We were just talking about
Do
this.
this. Save lives. We will save so many people. Okay?
And
Do
marriages.
this.
And marriages.
Yes, do this. This is terrible. We need to get these women off the road. Come with me. Sign my petition. Federal legislation. Get the women off the road. Hashtag trick shouldn't drive. There you go.
Heal the world. Keep the wifey in the driveway.
Yes.
For you and for me and the kids along the way.
Oh man.
There you go.
So I actually got a new car earlier this year.
Does it drive itself?
You know what? I'm getting to that. So the one that I have now, my old car didn't have these features. It has the thing where, like, you know, if you're driving, you come up too close on someone, it beeps at you,
yeah.
right? Or if you like are teetering,
Yeah.
playing a little tag.
See the kind of technology we need because women are driving? See this?
I'm getting there. And it, you know, so it beeps at you if you get too close to the center line, or if you're getting too close to the whatever that other white line is on the side of the road. And I realized once I got this car, it constantly beeped at me, and I'm like, oh dang, maybe I am a bad driver. Just to add to your point there.
Lorenzo was like, yep.
He's like, yeah, I already know.
I didn't say it. Your car did.
Because those beepers go off like a lot. Beep, beep, beep. I don't know. Now I'm just kind of used
And
to
they're
them.
loud.
So now I'm just kind of used to them. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, so now you're not even, you're just ignoring them now.
You can turn them off.
Yeah.
Anything men have selective hearing.
No, and if you, it knows.
Dummy lights. That
Yeah, right?
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Put the paper over.
But it has the thing too, where like if you do start to if you without turning a signal on, if you start to like veer into another lane, it holds and it like won't let you
It
do
shakes.
it. Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this thing was designed for people who don't pay attention. I'm like, oh, maybe
designed
that's
for
just
women.
women.
Oh, yeah.
So see, they're making us safer.
Please tell me that's not your closing
That
thoughts.
wasn't my close. That wasn't anything in my closing, but I had to say it since you brought all of that up. No, my closing thoughts are probably just, I mean, nobody's coming to save any of us, right? So we got to learn how to fight as kids on the playground, and so nobody's coming to save us, and people
that's us.
keep, what?
It's us.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
the last
we,
resistance.
we-
That's it.
people keep saying like, you know, somebody should do something about that. Well, yes, I agree. You should probably do something about whatever is going on. And so what we really want to be instilling in a lot of people is just always working every day to be the image of what you think a high value American is. And we talk about it every time on this podcast, and how, you know, a high value man is one that has his mind, muscle, and money together, his 3 M's, and a high value woman is one who has her 3 S's together, her sexy, supportive, and serene. And I'll point out that we have sexy and we have muscle here, so that directly relates to being also in shape and being fit to the best of your ability. And that's just what we want for everybody, because we want everybody to not be controlled. We want everybody to be free, make their own decisions, and just lead the lives that they want to live and lead the lives that they want to create.
To wrap it, a Trent. Yes, Trent.
Tyree.
Thank you, Lindsay. All right. So, you know, this has been a really fun time, and I just want to share, you know what, the way I fight is with these and a lot of this, a lot of prayer, and we need that. We need God back in society. But even more so, we need to talk. To get that back into society, we have to talk. And this is a small sliver of hope that we have, that we can start talking to people. You all have value. You all brought things here today, and it helps society. You know, and we need to keep doing that. And we cannot become the silent majority just because we're too busy to deal with it emotionally or practically or whatever. We have to keep doing our job. Keep fighting. I don't care if it's with your fists, on your knees praying, or whatever. You got to pray. But you got to be part of the solution too. Don't just sit there and feel sorry for yourself while you're praying. Go do something. Be part of the miracle. Be part of the solution. So I challenge anyone watching, whether it be on a short down the road or wherever, just remember this. We're here to talk, not just to invest 3 hours that we're not going to get back. Remember, time is the biggest currency. We got to keep moving forward, and I think you guys all proven that that's possible. You know, we do have brains and they work. We don't need the government and a higher hierarchy of people to control us. We can do it ourselves, but we just got to do it one step at a time. Get back to kicking ass on the school parking lot, whatever, or the recess. Just get back to the old school thing. Some things actually work. They didn't need to be fixed. That being said, please, if you're here, share, like, comment. If you want to be on here, I gave you the outreach at thewellnessway.com in the beginning. Please, we want you. And I'd love to have you guys back sometime. Best wishes in Pennsylvania if you don't get back. But this has been fun, beneficial, and that's what this is about. This is why it's not a waste of any time, because we're talking about things that matter. So, co-host, thank you. You guys have been amazing as always. And guests, thank you. And we will see you next week. Take care.